Philadelphia. I'm Bruce Buffer. It's time for the Anthony Gorgano Show.
Here it is, baby! Football Friday! Eagles, Packers, Sunday at the link. E-A-T-L-E-S. We're going to hear it a lot Sunday. It's the best. There's nothing like it. The first playoff game at the link at home Sunday. Birds. Awesome. Awesome stuff. Good morning, everybody. Happy Football Friday to all across the Delaware Valley. This is the Anthony Gargano Show presented by TrueMark Financial Credit Union. TrueMark.com/PHLY to find the credit union difference. So we got the game. Now, I do feel great about Sunday. Maybe not as great as the VG, who's predicted almost a 20-point victory. But I feel good. I know A.J. Brown did not practice this today. They're partly rest, partly the knee thing, and people are wondering, oh, my God. In fact, I'm just texting. I was just texting somebody. Yeah, just kind of what I thought. So he's playing Sunday, and it's kind of like one of those things where he's been bothered by it over the last couple of weeks. So, but he's, you're not keeping A.J. Brown from the field. So he'll be playing Sunday. He might be hampered a little bit by that knee, but other than that, like, he'll be on the field. And to me, again, this is where you ride what got you here, right? If Jalen's dealing with a little rust or, obviously hasn't thrown only 12 passes in 3 games, right, in the last 3 weeks. So, you're going on nearly a month with not a lot of activity. It makes sense, right? Rely on what got you here, and that is defense and Saquon. Run the football, and Saquon defense is the recipe. And I feel great about the game. I think it's a low-scoring game. I think it's one of those, it's close during the first half, just like a typical 2024 Eagles regular season, right? Close first half, kind of a maddening first quarter, second quarter showing life, and then roll second half. That's kind of how I think this game plays out. The way it sets up, the way it matches up. I don't expect Green Bay to, again, this is all turnovers aside, because we know the turnovers and sudden chance plays always change the course of a game. But assuming nothing crazy happens, I don't expect Green Bay to put up 20. I think Green Bay's in the teens, and I think the Eagles go on to win. And then we'll be talking about round 2. So we'll get you all pumped up for today. Fired up over some birds. Love it. Last night, the Holy 8 began. We got the Holy 8 of football, playoff football, and last night it did not disappoint. I got to tell you, my heart goes out to Penn State people. It really does. I was texting with all my Penn State Adam and my buddy Joe Ben and of course Mikey Miss, and they're beside themselves, and I get it, right? Like I understand. Like, I actually felt bad for Penn State and just how you lost the game. And as much as Franklin is getting killed today, and normally I would agree, but that wasn't on him. That was on Allar. You can't win with that kind of quarterback play. He was dreadful yesterday. Absolutely dreadful. And it's a shame, but, he got bailed out on 2 PI calls with 2 interceptions. The second one was ridiculous because the throw was awful. It was just a terrible throw. He actually has Warren for a touchdown, and it's a complete floater. Horrible. He's late, and he floats it. He tries it. He almost short arms it where he's trying to be perfect with it. You can see it. And he gets bailed out with the PI. They scored a touchdown, but he was bad. And then the pick. The only thing you can nitpick on the play calling is do you run it there instead of throw it? Singleton had just got you 12, and I know you're trying for the field goal, and I know it's inside a minute and you're scramble mode. I think you got to go for the points. You got to go for the win. You could have argued maybe you run the football, but other than that, I don't know how you win. And you got to give credit. Notre Dame was dead out, right? The first half, Penn State controlled everything. Everything. I mean, Penn State was with the line of scrimmage, right? Think about it. You knock the quarterback, you have the backup quarterback, Angeli in, and then you got to give it to the kid, comes back, and he plays a ridiculous second half. He was on the money with his throws. He ran when he needed to run. Like, he played a magnificent second half for the Irish. Like, it was a terrific second half that Notre Dame played. Both sides of the ball. They're down 2 starters on their O-line, right? I thought they just came and they balled. They controlled the third quarter. They got right back in the game. They tie it. Teams started to go back and forth down the field, kind of what I thought it would be in the fourth quarter. And, they outlasted. This Notre Dame team is well coached. Freeman's a great coach. I love that dude. He's so honest. He's so forthright. All right, he's a great coach, man. Great coach. His players love him. I would love for my kid to play for I'd love for Anthony to go play for Freeman. Like, he's terrific. He really is great. And they showed you a lot. They showed you a ton of Tyrese Maxey. They showed you a ton of moxie. And, coming back the way they looked physically overmatched on both sides of the ball. And they flipped the script. What a win. It was a great win for Notre Dame. Just an incredible atmosphere. Orange Bowl, Penn State, Notre Dame. It was thrilling right down to the end. It's what we love about football. There's 7 more to go. Good morning, VG.
Good morning. Football.
I was screaming it all day today. Fraser's like, what's up? I don't know. There's nothing better than it.
Allard stinks. I'm sorry. I've watched 3 games of Penn State. I haven't seen any flashes of anything good out of Allard except throwing up jump balls to Warren. I'll be honest with you. That's what I've seen from him. He was horrible last night.
I said that.
You say there's no blame on Franklin.
I said there's more blame.
I
said there's most of the blame is on Allar. How do you win with that kind of quarterback play? Go ahead.
Well, there was the one, it was like 2 minutes and 32 seconds left. They punted from their own 32. They ran 4 plays, tie game, 24-24. All I've been hearing about is they got the best tight end in football. How do you not even run a play for the best tight end in football at that situation?
They bracket. You think Notre Dame knows that? Notre Dame's got a good defense, and they bracketed the kid all night.
Come on. If you're the best, if you got the best, this guy's a star. He's going to be Brock Bowers. Come on. Brock Bowers was always open.
Okay. That's not really true.
It seems true to me.
It's not. It wasn't true.
They don't call one play for that kid.
They bracketed. Like, you don't think they were trying to get the ball to Warren? Of course they were.
They're calling running plays. It was running play.
Yeah, because you think about it, if the way Allar's playing, the only thing you could do is try to get the ball to Warren. They're bracketing Warren. The other receivers aren't good enough. Evans didn't show up. Wallace was bad, right? And that's that. And that's also with Allar just looking like he was melting in the moment. Like, you saw him shrink.
Horrible.
Honestly, I don't know how you win with quarterback play like that.
I can't believe I bought into this. I can't believe that I was cheering for PSU last night, saying we are changed. I can't believe I bought into that slot.
That's on you. I was rooting for Notre Dame.
Horrible.
That's on you, buddy.
Aside from the football play, what was the clock operator doing? Every other play, the referee was adjusting the clock. Was it not every other play?
I don't know.
The time on the clock. Please change it. There was one point he was 15 seconds off. They had to add 15 seconds to the clock, time clock. I was like, what's going on out there?
The things that bother you.
Every play was adjusted clock.
He's not wrong. It was pretty
It was
wild.
every play. They were
wild.
adjusting the play clock.
I mean, like, that's eyewash.
Like, this is the Orange Bowl. This guy, who's running the play clock? What's going on?
The best is to have a thrilling game, and your first take is the clock operator.
Dude, it was brutal.
Come on, bro. I mean,
Brutal.
look, you got to give Notre Dame a ton of credit.
Yeah, I love that coach. He is, Adam said it yesterday, he is like the Jay Wright. He's so good he can make you respect the team that you hate. He's a great coach.
He is.
Yeah.
He is. And those kids, like, let's face it, they looked manhandled in the first half.
Oh, yeah. They were getting bullied.
Right.
Yeah.
On both sides of the ball.
Yeah.
And then they came out and completely flipped the script.
And Franklin, no answer. No answer.
Well, I mean, they only had the one possession in the third quarter, right?
Just mentality-wise. Like, his team just looked like they gave up the 3, they gave up the touchdown, and it was over.
Look at the play
It was
sheet.
over. Like, Penn State was just like, they were scared. They looked scared in the second half.
Well, the momentum just kept going back and forth. I mean, it was wild. It was just, to me, it was a great football game. Now, again, I'm not living and dying on either team, right? So I get that, but
Yeah, Sammy from England's right. The Paisan backup came in and started slinging it a little bit.
Angeli, yeah, he did.
Changed the mojo.
Well, he
up.
got the field goal,
Yeah.
which was he got points on the board, which was key, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, man. Like, they only ran. Would they run 8 plays in the fourth quarter? 7 plays. They had the 3 and out, and then they had a 4 and out.
Yeah, 4 and outs, I think, where they ended up punting.
Yeah, that's when they punted from their own 32. Yeah, I don't know. I again,
They
I
stink.
I
They're
don't know.
always underachieving. They're
they
always
are,
underachieving.
but again, like I think about it, and I go, I got to tell you, I don't know how you win with that quarterback play. Like Allar was awful, and he got bailed out twice.
He's been hyped up. I feel like I've been hearing him for 2 years
Dude,
now.
listen. I would raise my hand. I love the kid's arm. He can throw it a mile. He does got to learn how to play the position, man. Even like he's got Warren on the PI, he gets bailed out. He's late, but he's also trying to make it too perfect of a throw, and he puts way too much air under it.
That was a pretty weak PI call, too.
It was, but, and I thought the same thing there.
Yeah.
But that's a touchdown. Like, you got your best player. He's got 2 steps on the defender. It's got to be a touchdown.
And he's a bit of a mope. He don't look great on the sidelines. He
No,
doesn't look like he's fired up. Get me back in.
Well,
he's like, oh, what do I do?
he looks like no,
Yeah,
he did.
he's not what you
No.
want in the huddle.
Well, he looked like the moment was too big for him.
Yeah.
The
They
whole
had,
game.
they had a bad cut to him. It was Riley Leonard
He
got
was
the
like
first
this.
down on
Yes.
his lip. And he
He's
just
like,
he dropped his head back. And you
Yeah.
could see him just lip. Oh my God.
Yeah. Well, he just think about it. He throws the pick like he's
Come
like,
on,
what did I do?
Throw your helmet down. Get me. Tell the defense, get me back in there.
Dude, I agree. Listen, I'm with you. That's my lesson to Massimo every game.
Yeah.
Like, because kids do that when they play poorly. They, if they have a stretch, it's just hanging your head.
Ugh.
You can't do that. You can't. You're right. Allar did that last night. And he was just awful all night last night from the beginning. Look, I know that Penn State doesn't have great receivers, but you can't tell me that nobody was open.
How can he not?
He wasn't seeing the field.
How does Ohio State?
Johnny Barnes! Go Birds!
How does Ohio State pluck every good Pennsylvania receiver and Franklin can't get one of them? Like St. Joe's Prep? Does Franklin visit St. Joe's Prep?
Yeah.
They got receivers every year.
I know. Well, they got, our boy, Jet Harrison.
Yeah.
Right?
It's Harrison Factory.
Only a sophomore, Jet Harrison.
Start paying them already, man.
Right? The whole thing. All right. Birds, how you feeling?
I'm good. Can Fraser, did you get that clip I sent you? Yeah. Oh, boy. Line them up. They're coming and coming, baby. We are strong right now. Another national guy, respected handicapper. from the empire that is known as ESPN, the old Stanford Steve.
Oh, I love Stanford Steve.
Who doesn't?
Yeah,
sharp handicapper on College Game Day.
You know why he's not yet? Stanford Steve's the best.
He's got a little something to say about this game.
Oh, let me hear Stanford
The
Steve.
Eagles pack a lot of heat on Sirianni all damn year. If they were to lose at home as 4.5-point favorites, it would obviously get to a fever pitch. How do you see this Sunday afternoon game going, Stanford Steve?
You know, every Super Wildcard weekend, you got to find the blowout. I believe this is the blowout.
Wow.
Give me the Eagles minus the points.
Philadelphia
This is the
Eagles.
blowout. Give me the Eagles minus the points. Every wild card weekend, you got to find the blowout. This is the blowout.
You could say it. All right. You know what? I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm with you. VG, you called it from the beginning of the week.
I'm feeling it, man. The talking heads who know way more than I are joining me.
You know what it is, too? The blowout usually happens. The line is usually like 4.5, 5, or something like that. You think it's going to be a close game.
Mm-hmm.
And the next thing you know, it gets out of hand. I could say it. I could totally say it, dude.
What do you think about this, AJ? I just think it's cold. His knee's been bothering him off and on.
Oh, he's
but
fine.
It's a rest,
I just thought that
it's a rest day. It's just cold. He came out for like 7 minutes. Like, get out of here. It's too cold.
Well, no. Hey, does it bother him the last couple of games?
Yeah.
Washington, Dallas, yeah, it did. But other than that, he's fine. I mean, he's playing. I'm not worried about it. You know, have to go through it. All right, coming up, as always, we get our man Franny Films. Let's tell you about some of our friends, though, some of our partners, like Golden Nugget Jewelers. Look, Valentine's Day around the corner, and that's what we're talking about now, right? We go from Christmas and all the lights to all the hearts, from lights to hearts. This is what happens. And maybe you're thinking, all right, well, I didn't do that well on Christmas. I got to come up strong on Valentine's Day. Well, Golden Nugget Jewelers in the heart of Jewelers Row in Center City, 8th and Chestnut. Go see my boy, Yaron. He's going to take great care of you. He's going to have everything you need. You want diamond pendants, you want diamond earrings, any of that stuff. He's got it all. Great pricing, beautiful jewelry that she will love. And if you're thinking about popping the question, well, he's got a slew of diamonds, engagement rings, ready for you. Like he'll get you the diamond, give you an education, set it up with the beautiful setting, and you got yourself a beautiful engagement ring, stress-free, and work within your budget. GoldenNuggetJewelers.com is where you find them. 8th and Chestnut. Tell them I sent you. Golden Nugget Jewelers, where Philly gets engaged.
Talk about some good people over at Glad Hair Restoration by Morgenstern Medical. And I know where you're at. If you're out there and you're thinning out, you check in the mirror, you're wearing a hat, you don't want to go out in public, if your hat flies off, all that stuff. Don't wait too long and get too bald like I did, and then you can't get help. So if you're thinning out, you're a little insecure, a little uncomfortable, your confidence a little shaken, give our friends over at Glad Hair Restoration by Morgenstern Medical a call. This was established by the late and great Dr. Paul Glatt. Dr. Morgenstern is overseeing things now. He's a nationally recognized specialist. And Drs. Glatt and Morgenstern, they shared a remarkable bond that spanned many years. They were colleagues. They were friends. They worked on research studies together. They worked in the operating room together. So what makes Glad Hair Restoration by Morgenstern better than all the rest? Well, it's the same peerless approach to care you know from the same unmatched Glatt system you've known. And each member of this exceptionally trained team brings over 30 years of experience, and all they work on is hair and nothing else. They're like hair experts. Glad Hair can help during all stages of your hair loss with leading-edge treatments for prevention and restoration, including laser light therapy and non-invasive TED treatments. Each patient receives a complimentary one-on-one consultation to pinpoint the best course of treatment, and they'll be honest with you. If you're too far gone like me, they'll let you know. They give you a caring patient advocate who works with you from the first phone call to the last follow-up. They understand it's emotional, it's challenging, and they're here to make it as simple and stress-free as possible. Glad Hair, it's not about restoration anymore. It's about innovation. Their breakthrough treatments really do dramatically change lives. Change your hair, change your life. Bald, thankfully, is now optional. If you want to improve how you look, how you feel about yourself, Glad Hair has the right treatment for you. Regain your confidence. Visit gladhairmctr.com or call 610-980-4000 to get started.
Wait, the best is Uncle Frank just dropped a half a gummy about 20 minutes ago to get settled in for Franny Films.
Nice. What time's he calling in? Let's get gummied up Uncle Frank on.
He should. We should get Uncle Frank on. Uncle Frank, right after TV Todd, check in.
Yes,
all right?
Please.
All right. Without further ado, the Leatherhead. Franny Films.
They do not crave food nor drink for nourishment, for they exist solely on the glow of the all-22 monitors. They are the Leatherheads, and he is Franny Films.
There he is! What do you say, Films?
Ant VG, what's happening, boys?
What's up, Randy?
Good start to the Holy Eight last night.
Hell of a game. It was awesome back and forth, especially down the stretch, late in the second half, just seeing both teams kind of go back and forth. It was a great start to what should be a great weekend. We got another one tonight with Ohio State, Texas, and then obviously NFL playoffs starting tomorrow. This is one of the best times of the year, no question.
Yeah, it really is.
Where do you guys go with tonight? Like Ryan Day, then you got the whole Matthew McConaughey
I'm all
stuff.
Texas.
You're horned up.
All
You're
right,
horned
all
up.
right.
Yeah, you're riding with
Horns,
McConaughey.
baby. I'll hook them.
All right.
I'm all horns. And I think they're going to shock the world.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, I like them. I think they match up, Fran.
I like Texas to cover, certainly. I think this game should be a little bit closer. I think when you look at the way Ohio State has played these last couple of weeks, certainly it's possible that they come in and they ride this momentum, they come out hot. They've jumped on teams early when you look at what they've done to Tennessee and then looking at last week at Oregon. But Texas, that's kind of been their bread and butter too, is to come out to early starts and then they kind of ease in a little bit and then they let teams back in. Texas has been good early in games, so I don't know that Ohio State's just going to come out and jump them the way that they have these other opponents. And look, this might just be me coping and just hoping for a really good game, but I think that Texas makes this one tighter than people think.
Yeah, man.
Tighter? I mean, is this something? If I'm teasing aside here, fellas, do I tease?
I told you, I like Texas. I've
to
been telling
win.
you. Listen,
So take Texas plus 12.5 or 12.
Yes.
All right.
Yes. I told
Yeah.
you. I told you all week.
I like that.
Here's the other thing, too, Fran. They got a great O-line. All right. So you're not, those tackles, you can't, it's not like Oregon where Ohio State was getting home without blitzing. You're going to have to pressure, right? Texas can run it. Texas also has decent receivers. Now, Ewers, I'm not a fan of, but whatever. And then defensively, they have a front. This is not Oregon. Penn State went up and down the Oregon defense.
Right.
All right. Texas defense is not that. They have a good front. They have a good secondary. They match up.
To me, that is the difference with this game versus what Ohio State has faced these last couple of weeks. I think when you look at this Texas defense, this secondary, is better than what they've seen. This defensive front is better than what they've seen. I mean, they go too deep at every spot along the defensive line. And then, look, offensively, I think when you look at the Horns, certainly you want the best out of Quinn Ewers. We talked about it earlier this week. This is a guy that's fighting through injury. So we've seen a lot of up and down play from him over the course of this season. In game, we've seen him up here. We've making big time throws early and late against Arizona State, and then second and third quarter really struggling at times, right? But I think when you look ultimately at this offense, to me it comes down to they've got a lot of talent up front on that offensive line for Texas, but they've been banged up. The injury bug hit them these last couple of weeks. So if that group can be fully healthy, and we don't, it's not the same as the NFL in terms of like injury reports and status updates. If those guys can come out and be healthy here in this game, I think that'll go a long way towards a Texas win.
Yeah, big time. I don't know how you win. I know Franklin's getting crushed, but I don't know how you win with that quarterback play last night.
I agree with the way that you laid it out, and I think when you look at it, I would put this more on Allar. In talking with people this week, in the industry, the thought was, I know he put out that statement a few weeks back that was kind of hinting at him going back, but that was far from a fully 100% decided decision of him going back to Penn State, that there was still the potential that he could go into the NFL.
Yeah,
I can't imagine that
I know McDonough talked about it last night, Franny. He said, he'll make the decision. What decision? Dude, you're swimming. And it's not like this was just a bad game. He swims half the time. Yeah. Last night was just awful, Fran.
Yeah, I mean, look, we talked about it earlier this year. I feel very strongly about this now after what we've seen in college and then certainly in the NFL. When you look at the money that these guys are getting at the college level, I think it would behoove all of these quarterbacks to exhaust every ounce of eligibility they've got. You go the Jaden Daniels route, go the Bo Nix route. You look up and down, all these guys that get that extra year, get that extra time. You're making so much money. To me, not to go off on a huge tangent, but when you look at Cam Ward, who, he's the favorite right now to be the number one pick, the quarterback out of Miami, Heisman finalist. A year ago at this time, he was a day 3 pick. He goes to Miami. He makes, $2-3 million, right? If he had come out and entered last year's draft like he was going to, he would have made probably under $1 million, and he would have been someone's second or third string quarterback. He would have held a clipboard, and now he made more money than he would have had he entered the NFL. He got another year's experience, and he built off of that. To me, you look at Drew Allar, you look at the decision Carson Beck thankfully has made, the quarterback from Georgia. He initially declared for the draft, and now it looks like he's going to go into the transfer portal. I think Quinn Ewers should do the same thing. Garrett Nussmeier from LSU, he went back. I think all these guys are learning, you know what? Like, it's better for me long term to just stay in college, stay in school, continue to get those reps as a starter before my clock starts in the NFL, because patience is wearing thin on these guys once they get to the league. The clock starts right away, and they want immediate results at that position more often than not. So to me, I think it would make sense, certainly, for Drew Allar to go back. Now, if he wants to say, I want to go, so you guys got to get me receiver talent. No catches from any receiver in that game last night. That's – I was on with Adam and with Jason Cabinda on our Penn State show earlier this year, and after studying Penn State, I was like, man, they just don't have enough perimeter talent. I thought that was going to be something that was going to hinder this team moving forward into the potential postseason, and it came back to bite them. Just not enough playmakers there in that offense.
No, and Wallace was invisible. Evans has speed. Yep. Evans, I don't know what Allar was seeing too. Like, that's the other thing. I don't know. I didn't see the all 22, so I don't know who was open. I know they were bracketing Warren. You could see that. He may have that one layered throw, which was really nice. That was his best throw of the night. But they were bracketing Warren. I mean, Evans wasn't open at all. Like, you got two great backs, and you can't get man on the outside with Evans. Like, that stunned me because Evans got speed.
Yeah. Yeah, and this was the worst that I said. Look, I haven't done the full deep dive on Drew Allar, but having watched a few Penn State games on film, watching other players, and then also watching them on TV as much as I have this year, this was the worst I've seen from Drew Allar. This was a bad game. You saw it early on. I mean, even the drop by Singleton in the flat down on the goal line, like, that wasn't a great ball. It was a little bit behind him. So you see just the meat left on the bone there with Penn State offense. It came back to bite them. I mean, all of those plays, if you make one of them, it goes the other way, and Penn State's going to national title.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Leonard, God bless that kid. You come out from the concussion, right? And look, you were being manhandled on both sides of the ball, bullied on both sides of the ball, and he balled out, man. I give him a ton of credit. He made nice throws. He got the ball out. Like Angeli told you what to do, which was get the ball out quick, right? Penn State's going to get pressure on you. They're going to be on you quick. They're going to blitz. Get the ball out. He did. And he was on the money. He ran a nice second half. He played really well.
Yeah, I think when you look at Riley Leonard, he's at his best when you can get him on the move. You do some of the design QB run stuff, and that's what they tried to lean on early on. He gets hurt, and he comes back, and you could see when they kind of catered that game plan towards the backup, and hey, like, to your point, like, balls out fast, let's operate out of the quick passing game, more of a stationary pocket. They said, hey, this is working. Let's keep leaning into this once Riley gets back into the game. And Leonard was able to string completions together, make some throws in some key moments, some of them on the move, some of them from the pocket. And they did just enough to be able to win this game. Obviously, you get that big play down the right sideline where the defender falls early, and then the receiver makes somebody miss down the field. But this was, I think, when you look at that Penn State or that Notre Dame pass game, it's all about, can you make the key moments? Because it's all about the run game with that offense. But can you make 2 or 3 plays when it matters most? And last night they were able to make them.
Yeah, yeah. All right. On the Sunday, Friday. I mean, I don't know. I look, every time I play this game out, I don't see Green Bay getting into the 20s.
Yeah, I think, to me, because I agree. I think that the matchup I feel best about is the Eagles' defense going up against this Packers offense. I do think that this Packers offense is one of the best 3 to 5 schemes in the NFL. I think they do a lot from an X's and O's standpoint that is really, really impressive. It's focused on the run game, very much like the Eagles. This is a team that wants to be able to run the ball, establish it, and they're going to try and shorten the game. I think that to me is number one priority for Vic Fangio in this defense, is to not let Josh Jacobs get rolling. And this isn't like you know what, you got to worry about him busting the 60-yard run. This is about them staying on schedule, schedule, keeping things unpredictable from a play calling standpoint. And that this is a defense where you can do that. We've seen that's how Carolina was able to stay in this game. That's how Washington was able to stay in the game when they beat the Eagles a few weeks ago. Is that ability to say, you know what? It's 3 or 4 yards, and if we do that a couple times, now it's 3rd and 2, and you're making it very hard to play defense that way. I think it's important for the Eagles to stop the run in this game. We know that they're not going to be an explosive downfield team because they lose their top deep threat in Christian Watson, and the Eagles have been the best in football at preventing the deep throw. But when you look at their use of motion, their use of misdirection, their use of play action, they can do a lot of things to kind of sustain offense and stay on the field. That's why, to me, like stopping the run, I think that's the number one priority for Vic Fangio in this group. Get to 3rd and long, make it so it's more predictable, then see if you can get home and force Jordan Love into some negative plays because he will throw the ball to you. When you look at the course of his career, the last couple of years as a starter, he will make those interceptions. The big thing is he hasn't thrown a pick in like 2 months. He's done a nice job now of taking care of the football. So he's kind of erased that part of his game. He's extremely hard to sack. I think this is going to be a little bit of a tough out for the Eagles. I do like them to win, but this is not going to be a walk in the park.
Franny, this is going to be a blowout. Come on, man. I don't see how they match.
It can be.
I get what you're saying, but offensively, yeah, their passing game, I have no fear of it. They're kind of limping in at this point. That game against the Bears was terrible. The Vikings was a struggle for them. And the Vikings, they're a good team, but they're not a good passing defense team. I think they're like 29th or 30th, the Vikings, against the pass. And Love put up like 180 yards. I just don't – they're not coming in with any mojo. Last year, they were coming in with some mojo, some vibes. They were rolling. I think they're limping in right now. And I think if Josh Jacobs is our biggest worry – Eagles are fine, man. Blowout. This is a double-digit win for Annie. Hey, before I forget.
Well, to me,
in the chat, someone came up with, what is this called, an anagram or something? Hold on. It came up for what Fran Duffy stands for. I got to find it, dude. It's fantastic. I can't find it now. You go on. I'll find it. This is fantastic. The chat's too active. It's all over the place.
I love it. The chat. I love it.
I got it. Right. Fran Duffy stands for Film Reveals All Nuances, Develop Understanding for Football. Yo.
That's
from player one in the chat.
Way to go, player one.
I need that. I need that put on like a poster board. I'll put it up right over here. That's outstanding. I love that.
Do it, brother. Do it. Hey, did you go back and watch the Dallas and San Francisco game from last year?
No, from last year I did not.
Green Bay went in. It was on my list to do. I haven't done it yet because I was just curious to because just from memory, I mean, their offense was clicking. Now, I'm trying to remember what Watson, how big a role he played in it. But I just remember them like it was an avalanche on Dallas. Dallas defense was vulnerable, if you remember, in the secondary, which this Eagles defense is not. So, I mean, that's kind of how I have a lot of, I agree with you. I think the biggest matchup is the Eagles secondary matches up against Green Bay's receivers because I like them more than VG. I think as a collection, they're good. I just think the Eagles secondary, I think, matches up with them.
So in that Cowboys game, Dobbs had 151 yards, 6 catches, 151 for a touchdown. And
that goes back. That's LaFleur because LaFleur is such a great. We talk about scheme and Franny. LaFleur is
really good,
brilliant at that.
Watson had 1 catch. Luke Musgrave was second with 3 catches, 52 yards. It was a Dobbs game.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, to me, the other side of the ball is where the intrigue, I think, comes. And look, if you were to power rank all 4 units, like offense, defense on both sides, I would put the Packers defense in probably at the bottom of this list. But I think the things that they do, where they excel, I think are some of the things that have given Jalen Hurts problems in the past. And that's what gives me pause because we know that when we get to the playoffs, like, throw the 17-game sample out the window. To me, it is one game, it is 1 week, it's any given Sunday. Like that's where games are won and lost in the playoffs. And when I look at the things that can determine a win or a loss in the postseason, It's great scheme. It's a quarterback taking over. It's explosive plays. And it's turnovers, right? And so both offenses coming in have done a nice job of taking care of the football in recent weeks. Right? Jalen Hurts done a nice job at erasing those turnover-worthy plays. I mentioned the same thing with Jordan Love. Explosive plays. The defense done a nice job at taking away explosive plays down the field. I'm not worried about that going up against Green Bay. Now, they did have the most explosive plays against this Eagles defense all season. That was week 1. That was a lifetime ago from an NFL standpoint. Yeah. I don't think a lot of that is applicable here to this game when you look at some of the busted coverages that the Eagles had down in Brazil. What does worry me, though, from a pass game standpoint, if the Eagles can't get the ground game going, when I look at Green Bay, they do an outstanding job at disguising zone coverage, especially cover 2. They do an outstanding job. When I go back and watch some of the plays that they've got in terms of forcing sacks, forcing takeaways, because they've been one of the best turnover teams in football defensively, forcing throwaways from opposing quarterbacks. No team has forced more throwaways and sacks when playing cover 2 than this Green Bay Packers defense.
I agree.
It just so happens Jalen Hurts is number 3 in the NFL in sacks and throwaways going up against cover 2. That is the coverage that has given him the most trouble. And it's not necessarily, hey, we're going to line up straight and just play cover 2. Go ahead and beat us. It's, you know what, when we line up 5 or 6 guys in the line of scrimmage, you don't know who's coming and who's going, and we're going to drop out. And it's going to be, maybe it's not like straight cover 2, but the safety that's lined up in the A gap, like he could blitz, he's going to drop to the middle hook. And the corners, they're going to play deep safety. And the safeties, they're going to come down and they're going to play in the middle zones. That's where it's like, oh, there's pressure. Oh, who's coming? Who's going? All right, now I got to drop back. Where's my answer against zone? Oh, wait, the corner was supposed to be here, but now he's actually there. That's where we've seen some of the inconsistencies with Jalen Hurts. That's some of the things that Todd Bowles has done really, really well to go up against Jalen Hurts in the past. And that just happens to be what Jeff Hafley has done really, really well for Green Bay. And so in this one game sample, are the Eagles able to make more positive plays on that than the Green Bay Packers? Because again, they do it really, really well. And in the past, that's what Hurts has really struggled with. Guys, it has not. I know it feels like a while ago, but in terms of like Jalen Hurts being on the field, that like A.J. Brown, the pass game, the issues with the pass game, that was not that long ago, right? We had that one game against Pittsburgh where he was lights out in the first half, getting the ball out fast, and it was really, really good. He got hurt the very next week, right? So does the offense in the pass game, does it look like it did against Pittsburgh, who is much more static and vanilla in terms of the way that they play in their zone coverage? Or does it go back to some of the inconsistencies we've seen in the past with a banged up A.J. Brown? If they can't get the run game going and they have to lean on the pass game, they're going to need Jalen to make some of these throws. And so that, to me, that's what determines the outcome of this game. And it's what gives me a little bit of pause in feeling supremely confident. I do think the Eagles have more talent across the board. Like, skill position-wise, they have more talent. Defensively, they got more talent. Offensive line, defensive line, I'm taking the Eagles on both sides. But I think that when you look at scheme and when you look at the inconsistencies in the pass game, that's what gives me a little bit of concern going in.
Dude, I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, that's exactly my fears. All right, before we get to the gummy game, all right, because we got to move quickly. I want to go through each of the other games, see how you think. Yep. All right. So Saturday, Texans and Chargers. Who you like?
I like the Chargers. I think the Texans they have limped into the postseason. That offense just has not been able to get off the ground. I like the Chargers defense in that one to take home the W.
I agree. I also like Pittsburgh. Oddly, I just think at least to cover. I think that they're going to scare Baltimore. No Zay Flowers to me is going to be tough for Lamar.
Yeah, I think that's a good call out, certainly without having Zay. I just think that when you look at Baltimore, that offense, what they've done, Pittsburgh has not been good defensively down the stretch these last few, really since that Eagles game back a few weeks ago. That defense just hasn't felt the same. I do like Baltimore to win overall in the third game.
Buffalo and Denver. I mean, as much as I love Bo Nix, this is Bills are strong.
Yeah, all pressure is on Buffalo in this game because everybody expects them to win. Hey, this is the team. All we know about their postseason struggles, but I think Buffalo is just too talented overall to lose this game. And look, defensively, Denver has done some really good things, but I think that Bills defense going up against Bo Nix, I think it'll be a little too much here in this matchup.
And then on Sunday night, the Washington and Tampa. I like Tampa. Todd Bowles, I love Jaden Daniels, but he's got one receiver and Zach Ertz. I think Temple Todd will wreak some havoc.
Yeah, look, I think that when you look at Todd Bowles going up against a rookie quarterback in the postseason, I like that. I actually think this is going to be a high-scoring game. I think both defenses are kind of reeling, but I do think that Tampa does enough to win out here. They've been playing really well down the stretch. I look at Baker and some of these playmaking qualities. He's running hot right now. I think he'll keep it rolling here against Washington.
And then Monday game moved to Arizona because of the fires. Rams and Vikings. This could be a great game. I don't have a good feel on it.
Yeah, when you see teams that kind of go through this kind of adversity, we've seen it in the past with like hurricanes and things like that. It can go either way, right? And I think it ultimately comes down to how is that team going to handle the distractions going on all around them, which is understandable. And obviously, the thoughts and prayers to everybody affected by everything going on out west. But I think I'm going to go Minnesota here. I think the Vikings, obviously, bad taste in all of our mouths after watching what we saw in Week 18 from Sam Darnold in this offense. But when you look at the full sample size of the season, I do like what that pass game has done. I'm going to go Vikings here on the road.
I love Rams in that game.
Do you?
Yeah.
Wow.
I think Rams are healthy and ready to roll.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Head to head. All right. Ask him.
What do we got, Franny? You see, it sounds like I might have to go make an extra stop, get an extra bag of gummies. What do you think this one is?
I'm going to go 2 gummies here, and just have that third one, like just have it ready. Just put it off to the side, maybe have it in the drawer, and just say, you know what, we get into late, and I want to go to bed. Okay, just have that in storage, ready to roll.
I'll cut it out. I'll cut it in half ahead of time. Okay, like Uncle Frank, I'll microdose.
I love it. Films, you're the best, buddy. Enjoy the holy now 7 left.
Go Birds.
It's gonna be a great weekend. Enjoy it. We'll talk Monday.
Sounds good, brother. The great Franny Films. I love him, man. Yeah. Films is the best.
He nerds out.
He's the greatest. All right, let's take care of some business, shall we? And then we're gonna go to. We have a special guest who's calling the game on Sunday.
Big time guest.
Kevin Burkhardt is going to join us. I actually sat down with Kevin yesterday, and we're gonna visit with Kevin. Of course, Kevin and Brady on the call.
They're quickly becoming my favorite duo.
I love those two.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
I freaking love those. Brady's great at it, man.
I agree.
And I love Kevin. Kevin's an Eagle fan.
I roasted Brady the first game, but he's gotten much better.
He's the best. He is the GOAT. He's the GOAT in everything he does.
Yeah,
all right. Tell us about TrueMark, and I'll talk about Parks.
Yeah. I love telling you about this TrueMark program. TrueMark Financial Credit Union, they're the local community credit union, help you out, give some profits back to the people, but they got this great program going to help you out with your kids because no one wants their kids to grow up and get into the real world and be financially illiterate like I was. So if you got kids, TrueMark's got the ultimate playbook for teaching financial responsibility with this new Greenlight account. And the Greenlight account includes this really cool Greenlight app, changing the game, helping kids and teens learn how to spend, save, earn, all that fun stuff. You can set up savings goals. You can track their spending and even give them allowance all right through the Greenlight app. Each kid gets their own debit card, which is super cool. If I was like 13 with my own debit card, I'd be stoked. So that way they can make their own purchases, learn real world money skills, and you stay in control of everything from your phone so they can't go crazy and buy a car. You get peace of mind. They get the freedom to make their own smart decisions with their money. It's basically like coaching your kids through their very own financial game. And for TrueMark Financial members, this program's totally free. So it's never too soon to help get your kids started off with some financial responsibility. So introduce your kids to this Greenlight program. Get signed up today. Visit TrueMark.com/Greenlight for more information on this cool program.
It is. It's very cool. Also cool is the Holy Eight that we're loving. And there's 7 left. You heard us go through all the games. Of course, the Birds. You can bet it all on the BetPark Sportsbook Casino app. Check it out. Like any different way you want different props. Make sure you check out what we did, Brain and I, on Cousins Corner, where we dive into every game, just like we did a little bit with Fran, except we go into more depth with props. So you can bet on the player props. You can bet on, you name it, all of the games, including, parlays, same game parlays, in-game wagering, right? Like you can do all that stuff right on the BetPark Sportsbook Casino app. And look, if your team doesn't win, there's always another way for you to win with the casino. You have the Baccarat, you have the live blackjack, you got the roulette at the VG's.
Live craps. They got live everything.
Yeah, you got all the slot games like the Peaky Blinders and Rocky. Give me Paulie, right? All that stuff is the best. BetParks.com has all the details for everything you need, including all kinds of bonus stuff they got going on. So check it out. You got to be 21. You got to be in PA, New Jersey, Maryland, Ohio, Michigan. If you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right. Now joining us is our sit-down with Kevin Burkhardt for Sunday. Oh, my God. Big game. All right. It's the first round of the playoffs, Lincoln Financial Field, and the voice of a big game. I love him, man. He is the greatest. Our friend Kevin Burkhardt. He'll be on the call with Tom Brady, the A-team, Birds, Packers. Kev, it's going to be a great one.
I mean, first of all, great to see you. It's been a minute. I feel like all is right with the world. Second of all, I mean, where would I rather be than the Link playoffs, a little cold weather? I saw the snow maybe on Saturday. I wonder if we can move the snow to Sunday just to give me a little draw. I mean, I can't wait. It's going to be a heck of a lot of fun. And yeah, let's go. Here we go.
It is. And you being back there, it's perfect. I mean, I have to say, it feels like a big game. When you do the call, Kev, it feels big. There's a bigness that comes with it. I love it. And you and Tom together, my God, it's fantastic. He's become he's gotten better and better. And it was funny, we were talking about it before you came on. No doubt that he would be great at it. He's great at everything.
Well, I mean, first of all, I appreciate that from you. Like, it's the biggest compliment you could give, right? And I think the coolest thing is Tom just loves it. And, I think what was cool for everyone else to see, obviously everyone knows who Tom Brady is, but I think what people have seen is he's just a football nerd. He loves the game. I mean, he's jumping up in the booth and hitting me when like big stuff happens, it's the coolest thing ever. It's like, you and I watching a game and we'd have the same reaction as it is watching with him, only we're on the air doing it. So I think that's been the most fun part for me. We're having fun. And obviously, yeah, he's the greatest player to ever do it. So it's cool getting those kind of insights. So, and he's excited. We got this game. He's like, let's go. He's excited to come back to Philly. It's been fun, like going to all the different venues with him as a broadcaster. Obviously he played in most of these, if not all of them, but it's been cool, like from a broadcasting perspective and seeing like the fans' views and how they react to him. It's been cool. It really has.
But for your perspective too, like you have a difficult job because you have to call the action. You also have to set time on whoever your analyst is. You have to set up. But I think what really helps is, and it comes through, is the chemistry. Like you have that way about you. You have it in baseball. I watch the studio shows, and when you have the three greatest players, right, with A-Rod and Jeter and Poppy, and it just flows. It's like a bunch of guys around a bar, and it's organic, and it's fun. I mean, I think you have that with Tom.
I appreciate it again. I mean, like that's the goal, right? Like you want to, like we're not doing rocket science here. I mean, the idea is you want people to feel like they're hanging with you at the game or at a bar watching the game. Like, yeah, with the baseball show, it's the same. And for me, it's just building relationships and trying to build trust with anybody that I work with, or really anyone in the industry, that. And, I think it's just when you have that and you have a friendship and you have trust, I think that it comes across the air seamlessly. So Tom and I spent a lot of time together in the off season, and getting to know each other. And it wasn't all, we practiced a ton, but it wasn't all that. It was really just getting to know each other. I just think he comes from there, and not every broadcasting team in history has been like best friends. But I think as long as you have a relationship and a respect and a trust, I think that greatly helps the process.
Definitely. Hey, what makes Lincoln Financial Field so special in January?
Well, I mean, for me, it holds a special place because I sat there through a lot of those playoff games as a fan, right? So, I mean, but I just think it's, the passion is just so good. And, obviously game day and tailgating and all of that, we have to leave so early just to get in the stadium there because, it's just different than other places because I know everyone's there 4 hours for the game. But it's just, they know exactly what's going on. Philly fans know exactly the deal. They the vibe of the game, like they're on the edge of their seat or they're getting antsy when it's like a little nervous time. It's just special, and obviously it's loud as hell. So it's all the perfect things for a playoff game, and it's the best. It's obviously one of my favorites for a lot of reasons.
And so let's look at the matchup for a second. So Eagles Packers. It's a long time from Brazil. It's amazing that the season is bookended by the Brazil game, and you look at these teams, and it's a really good matchup. First, let's look at the Eagles, and you look at the season Barkley's had and that Eagle offense. I mean, 14-3. It's we were talking about this. It's one of the best regular seasons ever. I mean, you had the 2004 team, you had the Super Bowl team in 2017, but this regular season, they could have won all but one game. You remember, no A.J. Brown, Devontae for a couple of those losses early.
I mean, the only game, honestly, that they shouldn't have won was the game in Tampa, where they got beat pretty soundly that game. And you're right, they were without both receivers. But the Atlanta game, they allow Atlanta to go down the field with a minute left. They're trying to figure out their defense, and they got torched by Kirk Cousins, a weird one. And then the Washington game, obviously the way that ended, but Jaden Daniels has actually done that like 4 times this year.
Yeah.
So it's almost, you have to give him some credit too, because the kid is pretty special. But yeah, it's been amazing. And I think in a lot of ways, right? I think they've grown as a team. I think overcoming last year's collapse was a pretty big deal. And I think, Kellen Moore, changing his ways and becoming just a run heavy team and realizing that this team is Saquon Barkley's team. I think that's who they are, and then obviously the defense coming together, right? When they started to figure out how to play Vic Fangio's system, when Cooper DeJean started playing the slot, and Quinyon Mitchell's been so darn good, and Zach Bowen's been ridiculous. So all those things coming together, it's been amazing. But I think that week 1 game, first of all, it feels like it was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And these two teams are both very, very different. I think Philly is obviously, if you look from that week 1 defensively, they're just a different team than they were. And I think Green Bay is different in a lot of ways. Remember, they have a new first-year defensive coordinator too, and they were trying to figure it out. They went from a 3-4 to a 4-3, so they're totally different now. They're a good defense. They're a top 6 defense in a lot of categories, and they signed Josh Jacobs in that week 1, but they didn't really turn into like a run-heavy Josh Jacobs team until Jordan Love got hurt in that game. Because then with Malik Willis playing, they knew they had to run the ball. And I think that's kind of how Green Bay developed their identity. So it's really cool. You've got iconic franchises who have playoff history. And I think 2 teams that really want to run the ball and be physical. It's like an old school, really fun January cold game matchup. I mean, I love everything about it.
I know it's funny how both teams kind of morphed into what they do best, which is run the ball. 2 real good offensive lines. Obviously, the Eagles have a great offensive line. So does Green Bay. So that piece of it, you mentioned the defense. And to me, one of the keys has been Jalen Carter. And you look at what kind of game wrecker he's been. That pressure up the middle is such a nightmare for quarterbacks to deal with. And he's played more snaps by a long shot than he's ever played, and he's just been dominant, man. That, like, having a dominant defensive tackle like that just changes everything defensively.
He played more snaps than almost every defensive lineman in the league. So think about that, Aaron, right? Like, when you talk about him coming out and like early last year in his Eagles tenure, like people talked about his conditioning and getting used to being, and now the guy's playing as much as any defensive lineman in the league at that level. I mean, just look at them up the middle, with him, who's been amazing. Zach Bowen's been the best story defensively in the league. I mean, he's not only maybe the best linebacker in the league, but his story is unbelievable. And, they saw something in him. They gave him an opportunity. He's been great. And then, I think on the back end, they've been really, really rock solid there. Bringing back C.J. Gardner-Johnson's been a good move. And so, the challenge this week is, how do they not let Jacobs run wild and Green Bay to get the big plays off the play action, right? And the one thing in their favor is, even though Jordan Love has played at a high level the second half of the year, much like last year, they haven't had the chunk plays of late. Green
Yeah.
Bay hasn't. And now they lose Christian Watson for the year, who's their big play guy. So I think that's the question of the game in terms of how's Green Bay going to find those plays, which they're so good at. They haven't had them the last couple of weeks, and now they don't have Christian Watson. So that's kind of the cat and mouse, I think, from that standpoint, that part of the ball anyway.
And that kind of really kind of fits into how Fangio likes to play, which is to keep everything in front of you. He doesn't give up a lot of big plays. And the other advantage I think the Eagles have in the secondary is, Quinyon Mitchell has had an amazing rookie year. And then they could match up in nickel and or dime with Isaiah Rodgers. And look, Reed's terrific and Dobbs, and Bo Melton will come in, Wicks. But the Eagles do have the secondary, I think, that could kind of hold up. So that's a fascinating piece of it.
Yeah, and DeJean's so good. I mean, and he's been unbeatable in the slot.
Yeah.
And now their best receiver is Jaden Reed, who is a really good player, but he's been relatively quiet for some strange reason. Like the last 6-7 games, he hasn't had the same production that he's had. Actually, I think his best game of the year was against the Eagles in week 1. So, that is kind of the matchup there. And then I think, Ant, for the Eagles, I mean, look, you could say this every game, and this is kind of a cliche thing, but for them, it's just true because the numbers back it up. They just can't turn it over 3 times. I mean, it's simple, right? Like you see the difference with them when they don't turn it over. I mean, they never lose under Sirianni when they win the turnover battle. So they just can't be sloppy with the ball. Give the ball to Saquon, give the ball to AJ Brown, and then let the defense do their thing, which they've done the last 11 weeks of the season, with the exception of the fourth quarter versus Washington.
And obviously, the big storyline is going to be Jalen coming back off the concussion, right?
Yeah.
Hasn't played in 3 weeks. What sort of rust? What sort of ways they've started off slow for much of the season to start games. So that's going to be something that's going to be interesting to watch, and they need to overcome.
You go back to the Super Bowl season 2 years ago, and this, they were the fastest starter in the NFL. They scored literally every opening drive, including in the Super Bowl against the Chiefs. They've been terrible at it this year. And that's what actually makes it even more amazing that they've had to, a lot of times, come back, from the bad early start. And it's not just the opening drive. The whole first quarter, they've been a really bad team. So it's amazing they've been able to overcome that. But you would like to change that here. And I think it's going to be fascinating to see how they start this game and what they call, right? Because not playing in 3 weeks is a real deal. And, you're playing against a defense that has found its footing, that they're really, really good. So, does Kellen Moore try to get some just quick things to get Jalen Hurts in a little bit of rhythm, maybe a couple zone reads for him?
Yeah.
I think the first quarter is going to tell a good story. They haven't been good at it all year. And you would think that there's going to be a little bit of rust, because not only played, he hasn't, touched a football in 3 weeks. So that's definitely something to watch.
And they're going to, they're going to sell out against Barkley. I mean, you have to go that route and sell out against the run and say, all right, Jalen, you're going to have to beat me early before I adapt.
I think just the threat of Jalen running is a big deal. And then I think the other thing is, you got to stick with it. To me, we've seen it so many times. He's had, 4 60-yard touchdown runs this year, for crying out loud. But I think Barkley's a lot like Christian McCaffrey had been the last couple of years with San Francisco. You go watch a game and he'll go nothing, 75-yard touchdown.
Yeah.
So I think you just got to be patient if it's not there with him early, because he's going to break one. He's going to, he's had multiple games like that this year. And I think that's going to be key too, is just kind of, if it's a little ugly, a little murky in the beginning, maybe crowd gets a little antsy, just stick with him. Just stick with, because he's going to break one. It's inevitable. He does it every game.
All right. There's 2 guys I want to talk to you about real quick. First is Sirianni. And the story of Sirianni is amazing, right? All these wins, double-digit wins, his first 4 seasons, makes the playoffs all 4 years, including the Super Bowl, has the slide last year. It's a tumultuous offseason. They're talking about, he's not talking to Jalen, and there's a rift between him and the quarterback. He's got to get 2 coordinators. How he gets into 2 coordinators. And then he gets off to a 2-2 start. There's a lot of talk in town. You heard all the talk. Oh, will he survive? Will he be a casualty? All this stuff. And lo and behold, they finished 14-3. There's something about him that works.
Listen, I've never seen a coach that's won that much that's been under scrutiny every single week.
Yeah. Yes.
And I think Nick just kind of fits the city. because look, he's fiery. He's mean mugging to the camera. He's chirping the fans. He's talking some smack to the other team during games. And you know what? It just kind of works with the Eagles. It just kind of works. It does. And I mean, listen, the bottom line is winning games, right? And the bottom line is winning games. And I also think it takes a little something to back off. And he obviously has input on the offense and during games, but I think it takes a self-awareness to back off too. You bring in 2 new coordinators and maybe let up some of the reins of the controls to, Kellen Moore and just so look, yeah, I mean, I think sometimes he gets a little fired up and sometimes it might be a little too much. And obviously we love showing it on TV. It's great television. But it's just, listen, it's who he is. Nick gets fiery during a game, and I just think it kind of works with this team and they kind of feed on it. Listen, the bottom line is he's been there for 4 years. They've made the playoffs every single year. I don't know what else result-wise you can't do better than that.
And then the other guy that you grew up an Eagle fan, so you remember the lean times. What Howie Roseman and Jeffrey Lurie have done, if you think about it, since they've been relevant since Andy in 2000. I think Andy kind of showed them the way, and they've continued it, and they have been a contender every year. They're an amazing story, man. Like you're talking like 25 years of relevancy.
It's pretty darn good. I mean, they're one of the best organizations in the sport, right? And Jeffrey Lurie is an amazing owner. And Howie Roseman's track record's pretty incredible. Seemingly every move that he's made has kind of worked out for them. And I tell you what, last year could have broken a lot of teams. He really could have. That was pretty bad the way they kind of finished the year and dive bombed in the playoffs and really kind of a non-competitive game against Tampa there. So give them a lot of credit for retooling and coming back the way they have. They are, I think the word you used, Dan, is right. They've been relevant for 30 years. And, as you know, that wasn't always the case with the Eagles, right? So, and more than relevant, they've been, really one of the model franchises in the sport. So, look, I think that they are positioned to go to the Super Bowl. I think they're positioned to have an opportunity to win one. But I do think their road is tougher this year. And whereas in 22 they were a dominant team and they were the best team in the NFC, and the Giants in the first round and the 49ers and Purdy got hurt in the first part of that game. This year will be a different beast. They got to go through Green Bay, whoever else, and maybe eventually Detroit. So if they get there, they'll earn it this year, no doubt.
I mean, you could Tampa, who's their nemesis, right? And Todd Bowles. And you're right. I mean, I would love to see, just as a fan of the sport, to see Eagles and Lions would be ridiculous. So that would be
pretty good. I mean, like they've been the 2 best teams in the NFC for the most part. I know Minnesota record-wise, 2 has been right there, but that would be pretty cool. And it's also interesting too because the fascinating part about that matchup, if it happens, you get Dan Campbell and Ben Johnson who go every 4th down and usually convert. It's who they are. And like Sirianni used to be like that, but now it's like. But now their defense is better, and now they're a run team, and it's like he's not like that all the time now. So it's interesting, like the morphs of styles if they end up meeting. I think it's kind of cool the strategy there.
All right, last thing, close your eyes. Give me your favorite moment in the link. Which moment pops into your mind first?
4th and 26.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a no-brainer. I mean, I was in the stands for that one. I mean, because, you're like, oh, man, like, it's what a bummer they're going to lose.
I was standing behind Andy writing a big magazine piece that I followed them all year long. This game was over.
4th and 4th and 20. Think about how ridiculous that is. Just think about it before you even knew about the 4th and 26. And I just remember, we're in the upper deck and, he catches the ball. We all look, we're all looking down. We're looking around to like our seat and we're like, holy, you know what? He's at the first down. It was, then he comes up, gives you the belt. I mean, that was wild. And, it's also one of those things, one of those moments where they still had to go down and tie it and then go win the game, so it was that,
and
but by far that
throws that pick.
That was Dawkins, right? Or
yes. Yes, it was Doc. I still don't even know why it was first down. I still don't know why Favre threw it up like that. I still remember going, wow, my God, he threw it a pick. First down.
That game was crazy. I mean, but that was, I mean, there's a lot of them, but that moment by far was the craziest. Like walking out of that stadium after that, we're just like, what happened? How the hell did that happen? You know, like it was cool. It was pretty neat.
It was the best. My brother, listen, thank you so much for hanging out. And if you guys go to Tony's Aroma on 3rd, let us know. One of the great spots in the city. All right, I'm sure, Big Dom and I will be bopping around over there.
You should pop by. I think we love Tony takes care of us, and we love it. I love it being back in
I know you do.
Back
Get
in the Northeast. So
that good
I would
pasta
say
he makes.
I would say there's a pretty good chance we'll show up there this weekend.
I love him, my brother. Listen, be careful coming in, man. We love you, and no better broadcast team than you and Tom to call this game. So thanks, brother.
Love you, man. Great seeing you.
Love you, Kev. Great job. That's my man, Kevin Burkhardt.
I love seeing them when they're in casual clothes and stuff. Yeah. They look like normal dudes.
Yeah, he's the best. I love Kevin. He's a great dude. I'm happy. And that broadcast is true. Brady's great. He's great, man.
Of course
He's
he is.
fantastic. I love the fact they're doing this game because I love. We were talking about the telecast. I love the announcers. Like to me, it's a big part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of behind the scenes, you have a behind the scenes with our next guest.
I do. Well, yeah. I mean, we noticed a little something.
Right?
Yeah.
This portion of the program brought to you by Rite Aid. Go to RiteAid.com for your nearest store and pharmacy. Rite Aid, your neighborhood pharmacy. Now, joining us, he is the great NFL Network reporter. To me, the preeminent reporter when it comes to the NFL. I'm so proud of him. Philadelphia's own. He is the great Mike Garafolo. Mikey G! Look at that.
Oh, I love the hat.
We're in a little Phillies hat. I love it.
Pandering? It's not pandering. I had it on. We're in 25.
He's the last person that's going to pander.
You're not a panderer. You've never been. You never will. You never will be. All right, so go ahead. Hit him with behind the scenes.
Well, just a little curious. Behind the scenes, the producers, people notice in the green room you eating an orange, but you tend to peel the orange with your teeth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like it. Well, I don't like it. I don't like the rind getting underneath my fingernails.
You could deal with the taste. You'd rather have that bitter taste?
It's not bitter. It's the same thing that you express over your old fashioned. Kevin Burkhardt just texted me back, by the way. I was telling Ant to bring me up in the middle of that interview, but he just saw it just now. So, yeah, I love KB. And by the way, you love KB and Tom Brady?
Yeah.
Lots of reports that you better enjoy this while you can, Ant. You better enjoy that duo.
So what happened? So Brady with the Raiders can't? What's going to happen? He's going to be the president and whatever?
I got nothing. I got nothing. I'm just saying I see a lot of reports out there.
All right, give me
Dan Patrick.
Wait. Tell me something. Give me what reports.
They all said they think Brady's gonna go to a full-time role with the Raiders. They think he's done at Fox after this year. Yeah. I have no idea. I'm just reading reports. I don't know.
I know.
He's got no idea.
Listen, you can get, if that's the case, you get KB and Greg Olsen back together, you would think, which was a great duo as well. Listen, I love KB.
I love Kevin. I do. I think he's fantastic.
Yeah. Point
Brady
Pleasant's
belongs. I'll be honest with you. I think he's great. I love Tom doing the games, but he belongs in the league like he does. I'm hoping.
Well, he's got he's swinging a big stick on this this Raiders deal, and if you think Mark Davis made the decision on Antonio Pierce and Tom Telesco of his own doing, all you got to do is follow the timeline of what happened here. So Pierce leaves on Sunday after the game, after having had a great conversation with Mark Davis and a great couple of weeks with Mark Davis, and proud of the effort, realized that we were shorthanded talent-wise and all this stuff. And then Monday, Pierce doesn't meet with Mark Davis at all. So he goes to the media and says, unless I'm told otherwise. And you would think if you're going to fire a coach, you're firing him the day after, just like every other owner seems to do. Monday, he has a conversation with Telesco, who comes in dressed like it's an interview, by the way, like not in his team gear. So he thinks he's, and he has the whole and so he has a conversation. Nothing happens. Tuesday, Mark Davis comes in, has a conversation with Pierce, sends him packing, okay, after a long conversation, like a back and forth. And Telesco thinks he's safe. And then yesterday, Telesco gets whacked. So my wife is in the business world, and I kind of sort of explained this all to her, and she's like, "Well, why not just like Monday?" I said, "I don't know. He had to have conversations with Brady. He's got these minority," and she goes, "Oh, he had to answer to the board."
Right.
And I go, "I never thought of it that way.
Yes.
Like I never thought of it because I'm not in the business world.
Right.
But now he's got a board, and he's got a guy in Tom Brady
well,
that
he's got the guy, right? Like, and TB's like, you know, I mean. You got to get it. You got to get rid of him.
First of all, Brady's got buddies from his time playing in the league, and now even being a commentator, he's involved in that world. And second of all, if you're anointed, you're Tom Brady, and you're anointed as a guy who, even though you own 5-10%, whatever it is of the team, you're going to be the one that's charged with making changes.
Yes,
you're going to make a change.
Yes,
you're not going to not make a change.
Yeah. So do you think it's Vrabel? You think Spags has a shot? Because I know Tom loves Spags.
Right. Correct. Yes.
And,
correct.
You know, it's interesting because Tom's going to be at Mr. Tony's and I'm going to see him there. I'm going to be carrying water for Spags.
You don't listen. He called him the bane of his existence. And a guy that's given him fits dating back to Super Bowl 42. I think it's interesting, though, because Pierce, who played for Spags and has a relationship with him, is potentially going to go with him if he goes somewhere as a head coach. Right. So he's going to go back. Now he'll be potentially at the Raiders. Would Pierce go back there?
Right.
I wouldn't put it. I wouldn't say it's out of the question if that we're getting way ahead of it. But,
I know.
You know, Tom Brady does.
Vrabel would be the guy.
We're ticketing Vrabel for New England. Like I at this point I find it, but I'll say this: New England didn't fire their GM. Elliott Wolf is still in place in New England, and Vrabel did the interview with the Jets to get the Patriots' attention. It's quite possible the Raiders are doing the full clean out to get Vrabel's attention to potentially bring him out there along with his handpicked general manager, who would likely be Ryan Cowden, who was with him in Tennessee and is now with the Giants.
What by the way, speaking of Giants, what was that about? How could that GM come back?
Well, he likes what he did in the draft this year. They had a really good draft class.
Yeah.
And these guys really started to show out a little bit. But I sometimes I go like, oh, look at all these guys. They played so much this year. And you're like, well, did they play that much because the veterans are terrible, or did they play that much because they're good? And they do believe that they've got themselves a good 4 or 5 guys that can be the core of this team moving forward. And they did play well. They had the running back, Tyrone Tracy and Malik Neighbors became the first rookie duo to have 1,000 scrimmage yards in the same season since the Saints in 2006, which I believe our research team told us was the only team ever to do that. So they do have at least some pieces early on.
Who's that, Kamara and Thomas?
What's that again?
Is that Kamara and Thomas?
It was Kamara. No, it was Marquez Colston and Reggie Bush, I believe.
Oh, 2000. Wow.
2006. Yeah, way back.
Colston.
Yeah, it's been that long.
Wow,
it's been that long. So, and he almost went for. Tracy had like 800 something rushing yards. If he had gotten to 1,000 rushing yards when the first time he had 1,000 rushing receiving. So, yeah, I mean, I think that they benefited from. There's been McAdoo, Shermer, Judge, and now Daboll. There's been 3 before them that were 2 and done, or not even 2 and done. I think in McAdoo's case. So I think they benefited from being 4th in line. If they were first, second, or third, it would have been a quicker. But Mara's trying to keep some continuity here, and we'll see. I mean, as the way I put it was December next year or this year, we better be talking about playoff positioning and not draft positioning if these guys think they're going to stick for 26.
Does Telesco land on his feet somewhere? Or, I mean, he drafted the tight end who set all kinds of records, or is that just such a no-brainer draft pick that anyone could have made that?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that, and I know, the folks inside that building, some of them are upset that he wasn't more aggressive in getting one of the quarterbacks that came before, because that's what they needed most of all. So you could sit there and say, well, I got Bowers, but at that point, that was the best positional player left, the guy that we thought the Jets were going to take a couple of slots higher. So it's not like he took Brock Bowers in the 3rd round and unearthed a gem. So again, and folks had said that they had other guys in their rookie class because they had nobody else, right? At some point, you needed the talent on that team. So I think looking back on that, it was a bad pairing because you had Antonio Pierce as the interim coach, pedal to the floor, going to do it his way, different than what you're used to seeing a head coach be. And then a guy who was more of a traditional wait and see, let things kind of bypass. It was a terrible pairing. They should have had a better pairing there if they thought those guys were going to succeed.
Does Spags have a chance anywhere else?
I don't think he'll wind up with the Jets. I don't know what direction the Jets are going to go. I don't have a good feel for that. I think they thought they were going to have a good shot at Vrabel, and then I think they saw how that went, where he went and interviewed with them to get New England's attention. New England jumps. And now Vrabel's got 2 options elsewhere. I can't imagine he goes to the Jets over either of those 2. I know they were interested in Nagy and Mike Borgonzi from Kansas City as well. So it seems like they're looking to the Kansas City model a little bit to see if they can maybe get that. So I don't get the feel there. I think Spags got a better shot in Jacksonville or in Vegas, depending on how things fall.
Yeah, if Rex Ryan gets a gig before Spags, that would be outrageous.
I'd be floored. I'd be absolutely floored if Rex Ryan gets hired by the Jets. Save this clip. I might be wrong, but I'm not sensing that.
Does Ben Johnson, does he come back? Does he come out? I mean, it feels like I heard the other day that somebody told me inside the league was like, dude, Ben Johnson's staying.
He may. I mean, that's been a long running rumbling this year. And I don't like last year, go back to that. Like it was the Washington gig. He was not going to get that Washington gig. And I've said that, like Washington, that was just not going to work either way. And I think both sides had sort of decided that. And, he's the one that made the call while they were flying up there to see him and Aaron Glenn, I'd give Glenn a puncher's chance with the Jets where he played, if not potentially the Saints gig down there as well. So I don't know. I mean, it's been an unpredictable 2 years with him. He's got a lot of demands and a lot of things that he wants in place. He's a different dude. I don't know how much experience.
I don't know how great of a coach he'll be. He's very introverted and very thoughtful, introverted,
You got some good people you're talking to there, cuz. You know what you're talking about. But yeah, no, it's one thing to be in the lab by yourself during the week and dialing some stuff up. That's why I think, and I've said this for a long, the hiring practices in this league, these owners are I need an offensive coach, and I know Jeffrey Lurie feels that way, but what's Nick Sirianni's not a play caller. No. He's not an offensive line. He is exactly what you need. He is the guy in charge of the entire operation. So he's done a great job of that. They hired him based on that, but they like the offensive mindset, which is fine. You can have that, but you better also that's why I laugh at this Bears search that I don't laugh at it, but at first it was like, well, Caleb Williams, they're going to go out and they're going to get Ben Johnson or Cliff Kingsbury. But then you started to hear this like, oh, they also want a leader of men. Well, neither of those two guys is a leader of men. They're both sort of the same guy. You hire them, maybe they'll drop it. But Caleb needs somebody right now to pick him up, to do the Mickey
like Harbaugh. It's amazing.
He needs a dog.
I don't know why in the world they didn't go after Harbaugh. I just don't understand it. I would have gave Harbaugh every key to Michigan Avenue, to you name it. Are you kidding me? He's the perfect guy for that job who played there.
It's incredible. And when we talked about Harbaugh last year, the thing I said was, okay, maybe you're not hiring Jim Harbaugh for 10 years. Maybe you're getting 4 to 5, but those 4 to 5, you're going to be in the playoffs, and you're going to be, and who knows after. And I don't know. I mean, I watching him and hearing some things this year, it seems like he's
not mellowed. Yeah,
he's not mellowed, but he's a little different than he was in San Francisco.
I heard the same thing.
Dialed it back a little bit. Which is good. But regardless, you knew he was going to come in and make that team a playoff contender at the very least off the jump, and we've seen that.
All right, go ahead.
Can I just ask you, I see some report about their landing spots for Dougie P, your favorite. Is he someone who could come in as offense coordinator of the Bears and give Caleb a little direction and grounding and leader of men?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Well, yeah, I mean, I'm disappointed with what happened in Jacksonville with Doug. I thought that was going to be a good spot for him, and they started off. I just something flipped the switch halfway through last year, and they just never recovered. It is interesting to see the way it can look so good for Doug, and then all of a sudden fall off a cliff, like it did with the Eagles too, as well. It's just like this switch flipped. I still think he's a good offensive coach. I think he's a guy that, yeah, I would bring in some capacity to work with the quarterback. I think he's got a good way of working with quarterbacks. And I think in the end, he did some good things with Trevor down there. I would absolutely consider him. And I know he's being talked about at least as potentially on some staffs moving forward, depending on what he wants too. Because a lot of times you come off of that, you got the contract, you're getting paid either way. You just kind of go, I'm going to take a year off. I haven't talked to Doug. I texted him a few times here and there the last week or so, but I just haven't had a chance to dig in on that. So I'd be speaking out of turn if I said I knew exactly what he wanted to do this year.
As long as he doesn't have to bring Press Taylor. I mean, he's attached himself to Press, boy. Whew.
Listen,
loves Press.
I like Doug. I think Doug has always been he's a great dude. People, these players love him.
Yeah.
He's fantastic. I never thought he was, as
Innovative.
a head coach.
You don't think he's innovative?
He's not innovative. I mean, I think listen, he took a lot from Andy, right? Like, and I know he took a lot from Andy, and God bless him. And he's got a great demeanor about him. I just don't think he was innovative, and I don't think he was a head coach in the way that buttoned up. There were some loose ends, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I go back to the 2017 season. He just had the right coaching staff around him. They were in such a rhythm, those guys, with Frank Reich, even down to John DeFilippo as the quarterback's coach at the time.
Flip was good.
Yeah. And the defensive side of the ball, handled their business as well. It was when things were right. That's what I'm saying. When things were right with him, it's like it's so high, and then all of a sudden, you see the other side of it.
Hey, so what do you hear at AJ Brown? I hear the same thing. It bothered him over Dallas and Washington. But I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, seems like he's going to be a go, and it's something he's going to have to manage the rest of the postseason here. And maybe there's an off-season cleanup or something, and we find out the full extent of what he's dealing with right now. But it sounds like it's more of a managing him this week to see how he can get through. What was his designation yesterday? Was he
out?
Limited or out?
Out of practice.
He was DNP yesterday.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
It was rest. They called it rest and knee.
Right. Which, you can. It's like it's sort of indicating he would have practiced.
Yes.
But we want him to rest. And he's also got that. But we want him to rest because of the thing he's got going on, which is sort of a weird way of splitting that hair right there. But I mean, I expect him to be on the field today and playing on Sunday.
What kind of? There's some talk in Green Bay that Jordan Love still has some tingling.
I think. Well,
at that elbow.
Yeah, it's you and I hit our funny bone, and half an hour later we're good. But you can really do something there that sort of keeps that sensation going there. It's not anything that's causing him issues with everything he needs to do to grip the ball and throw the football, from what I understand. But it is something that's just kind of sort of still there, and he sort of feels a little bit. Who knows if he gets? I don't know the mechanics of it. If he gets popped on it again, if it comes back and it gets worse. I mean, he was. I going back on Sunday would have been, if that was the playoff game, he would have been back in the way he was throwing on the sideline and everything right there. So I don't know. I mean, if an Eagle player comes in and a helmet hits that thing on Sunday early in the game, you could see him starting to deal with some issues there. We'll see.
How do you match that up? I mean, I'm curious to see when you think of Jalen coming off of 12 snaps in almost a month.
Yeah. It's unintentional because it wasn't like they rested guys, but I never like that. Let guys sit for too long. I've seen too many teams come out rusty. I think about the Broncos back in '97 when they lost to the Jaguars. I think about the Giants beating the Packers in 2010 or 2011. I think the Packers had played like one game in the entire month preceding that game. So I don't love that. But I think he'll be okay. I think they should be able to function offensively, and certainly the running game is going to be what they're going to lean on, and this offensive line and Saquon, and control the game that way. To me, this Packers team, if you asked me 3 weeks ago, this was you don't want to see this team come in, physical brand of football, and they still might. I just feel like they're leaking oil right now on a number of fronts.
I do too.
Watson
It was weird. Now,
yeah.
the Saints were dead up until last week, and they went in, and Monday Night Football was right around the holidays, and they played like 3 really good games in a row, culminating with that Saints game where they shut them out. Yeah. But they kind of don't look right to me.
They don't. No. Yeah, and it's why it's so hard to make this projection in this, because it's got to be heading right into the postseason. Where are you at that point? Mid-December, I was like, I don't think the Eagles want that matchup. I don't see. I'm trying to go through this and find a way to a Packers win. I just can't get there right now.
I can't either. And again, I just think, look at it. The Eagles' defense, to me, it will dictate the game because they just match up against the Packers receivers. I mean, in fact, when you go nickel, right, with Cooper, dime, we bring Isaiah Rodgers. I mean, good luck. You lose Watson, who's your stretch the field guy. I just don't think. And the Eagles have become a really good tackling team, which wasn't the case the last couple of years. So I just think that's a recipe for an Eagles win.
Yeah, they're gonna be a solid defensive team here, and if we get to the point where it's Lions-Eagles NFC Championship, that's going to be a terrific matchup between Ben Johnson, his offense, and Vic Fangio and the way that they're doing things defensively. I can't wait for that one if we get to that point. To this point right now, and this is like not even factoring in Love and the hand and all that stuff. To me, they just don't look right now, like you said, and they don't look like the team that's going to come in and really. I go back to that Dallas game, like from the opening coin toss, that was Green Bay's game. I can't see that team doing that right now, especially in the Eagles, in the link in those elements on Sunday. What's it's supposed to be cold again, right? You're supposed to drop back down?
Oh yeah, it'll be in the upper 20s by kickoff. 35, I think I saw the high. It'll be around there. It'll dip once the sun goes down.
The way it's supposed to be, Ant.
Or will you be there?
No, I was supposed to have the Ravens game on Saturday night, but I've got to be on Sunday morning as well. So it's like I just couldn't get back from this. So I'll be working from home both days. Divisional round, we'll see. So if they win. If it's chalk, right, they'll play the 3 seed. They'll play the Buccaneers if it's chalk. So we'll see. Maybe Eagles Tampa if it holds up.
Looks like 42 and sunny is a high on Sunday.
Well, but by 4:30 when the sun goes down, you're going to be into the 30s.
So the sun goes down, the temperature goes down. All right?
What do you think of? I mean, they had to move the game with the fires. It's awful.
Yeah.
I mean,
we got a lot of people. We got a lot of people at NFL Network that work on our shows that live in that area. We got one guy whose family lost their business. Another one, the pictures of the houses just burned to the ground. And
awful.
I mean, some of the videos of people rescuing, animals and photo albums and things that you just, I know there's a big spread between what I just said, but just everything in between. Just think about everything they're going through. It's brutal out there.
I know.
And so the move in the game, I think was the only option. And I know some folks said, why not move it to Minnesota? You give them a home game. They had the better record. The NFL still does value winning the division. I know we've had some sub 500 teams before host games, and they go, wow, it should be, if you don't get to 500, you don't host the game, but at least you're in. Then you flip. They still think that you win the division, you win the championship of the division, you get to host the game. So they're trying to make it as much of a home game as possible. It's about a 5-6 hour drive from LA, and I know LA is a big area, but about 5-6 hours. They're letting the Rams season ticket holders get first crack for 2 hours. They're going to do Rams signage and everything. So they're going to try to make it as much of a Rams home game as possible. But it's another obstacle for a team that to have to deal with that when you think you're going to have a home game.
Who do you like in that game?
I did like the Rams at home. I don't know what this does at this point. And sometimes this can be a inspirational type thing for a team.
Yeah.
NFL playoffs. You shouldn't have to think about that kind of stuff. I do like the way. I mean, the Rams are going to have a good defensive front for years. The way some of these guys are playing.
Jared Verse, terrific.
Yeah, I think that could really dictate things. If that front really starts to get in Sam Darnold, because you saw a little bit of the old Sam Darnold last week, which I would caution any team looking at Sam. This feels like Nick Foles to the Jaguars type of stuff, where he looks great where he is right now. Take him out of that element, try to recreate that, and you maybe necessarily can't. So I'd caution any team making a move for Darnold this offseason.
I'm with you, brother. Listen, great stuff as always. Enjoy the weekend. I'll be hitting you up. All right.
You got it, cuz.
Thanks, brother.
Excited for some. Everybody says the divisional round weekend's the best sports weekend of the year. This wild card weekend, which I think, thankfully, they stopped calling Super Wild Card Weekend. It's just Wild Card Weekend again. I like the wild card weekend. Hopefully, get some good games here.
I added the college playoffs. I was calling it the Holy Eight. I like the Holy Eight.
Has that taken off down there?
No.
It's
in my own mind.
It's blowing up. There's
among
people
among
with
the
shirts
Catholic.
on. All
In my
over.
own mind.
Hoodie shirts.
Because I'm a loser. I just love it. Thanks, brother. We love you, buddy.
All right. Enjoy your Holy Eight, brother. Talk to you next.
The great Mike Garafolo, NFL Network, chiming in. Time now for our injury report. That's right, the Friday injury report with our guys, our doctors from Rothman Orthopedics. Always the best. Dr. Dotson is going to join us, board-certified sports medicine surgeon, professor of orthopedic surgery at Thomas Jefferson University, consultant to the NHL.
Nice.
He is the man. He was previously associate head orthopedic surgeon for the Eagles, all right, the Sixers. I mean, you name it. He is consultant with the Dodgers. Like, my man is it.
Dr. Dotson knows what's up.
Of course he does. We're going to ask him about the Jordan Love injury today. Dr. Dotson, good morning.
Good morning, guys. How you doing? Can you hear me okay?
Wow, you look great, and we hear you perfectly.
Thanks. Thanks for having me again.
Are you loving the playoffs?
This weekend is it's pretty exciting, right? NFL football, game Saturday, game Sunday. It's one of the best weekends of the year. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it very much.
Yeah, it's the best. It starts last night, Notre Dame, Penn State, and it's
great
tonight,
game.
Texas,
Great
Ohio State. It's football, Doc. I know you love it.
Yeah, I do. I stayed up last night watching it, which was painful for my gym session this morning, but it made it worth it. So
Look
a
at
great
this
day.
guy. Gym in the morning.
Dr. Dotson.
Saving joints in the afternoon.
Well, listen, he's a superhero. It's the only way you can get it's what he does, man.
Hey, Doc, let me ask you, do you prefer a doctor title or a professor? You're a professor as well. What's the cooler term?
I'm good with anything, but I guess doctor, but I'm good with anything. So
I like the professor. I like Prof Dotson.
Well, he's the man.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, and again, just to let everybody know that Doc is not treating Jordan Love, but we're talking about the injury for Jordan Love. Doc, the funny bone. You hit it, you get tingles, right? He hit it pretty hard that he's still feeling some after effects. Can you explain this injury and explain the funny bone?
Absolutely. So I looked at the video. It looks like he hits the inside of his right elbow, actually in one of his linemen's helmet. The funny bone is it's actually not a bone, it's a nerve. It's the ulnar nerve. It's the nerve that kind of runs along the inside of your elbow, and it's very superficial. Most of us can feel it, if you kind of rub along there. And so that nerve supplies what we call motor and sensation, or movement and feeling, to two specific fingers, the small, your pinky finger, and then what we call the ulnar half, or the pinky side of your ring. And so, if anyone's ever hit their funny bone, they get that kind of numbness in those two fingers, but also for motor, for gripping the ball, grip strength, et cetera, it can affect it. So, you could see after he hit it, he was sort of on the sidelines playing and trying to get his hand out because it's probably tingling and felt a little weak.
So normally when we do it, we, it's lasts a half hour. You're right. Was it that severe is that what allowed it is that what made it still to this day? Because they're talking that he still has some tingling today in it.
Yeah, well, if you can imagine the severity of the speed he's throwing a ball and then hitting a helmet, that trauma, he probably has a pretty significant contusion to the nerve. I think I saw somewhere that reportedly the numbness had gone away. The main issue for this is he's a quarterback. He's a throwing athlete. So if he was a wide receiver or something else, you wouldn't worry about it as much. But when you throw a football, you actually apply what's called a valgus load. For the layperson, your elbow gets loaded on the inside when you throw a football, throw a baseball, et cetera. So I guess the big question is A, when he goes back to throw, even though he might have resolved the symptoms at rest, when he starts to load the inside, does he get that tingling and sensation back when he's we call cocking at the elbow? And so that's probably what they're really worried about. And as you can imagine, that's an issue because if you start to get tingling and lose grip strength as an elite quarterback, it's a tough thing to deal with.
Yeah, I mean, the grip strength is everything. So if you hit it, are you more susceptible if he dings it again?
Absolutely. So during this recovery period, because this has only been a week, right? So during this recovery period, another blow to that side would be more likely to cause it to, get more inflamed, potentially swell around the nerve more. And I don't think cause long-term damage, but certainly in the short term, it could affect, the ability to play.
Does the weather affect it? Like it's going to be obviously cold Sunday. Does that impact it?
Well, I think as we all probably feel, I think from a standpoint of stiffness, I think, joints tend to get a little bit stiffer in the cold. So, they're going to probably try and make sure it's warmed up and I wouldn't be surprised to see like a heating pad to some degree, maybe not directly over the nerve, but just around the joint to keep it loose, so to speak, because it will, with inflammation, things tend to get stiff in the cold.
Can you do nerve? Seems like a tricky situation. Is there much you can do for nerve stuff other than rest?
Great question. No, that's exactly right. Usually, and again, in a layperson, you would, when you're not sort of throwing a football at this elite level, after contusions on the nerve, you would just let it rest and settle down, and after a week or so, most of the time, it would kind of gradually resolve. But yeah, it's purely a rest situation. Again, you certainly don't want to suffer a direct blow to it again. That would be probably the worst scenario because it would make it more likely to flare up. And then again, with the throwing motion, it's potential to cause a little more aggravation and create more symptoms.
All right, man, this is going to be interesting. I'll tell you. How you feel? How you feel about the Eagles going on this run?
I'm extremely confident. I think the team looks great. I think we have the best team. I really do. I think the last 13 games would be 12-1. So I'm as a fan, I'm pretty confident. I think we're gonna comfortably win. But what do I know?
Man, you're a sportsman, yeah. Doc. You're terrific. You are great too. You need your own show. You know that.
Yeah. I appreciate that, but my day job is still taking care of people. So I'll leave that to you guys. You guys are the experts on that, not me.
He's Ivy League, man. Doc, what's he doing hanging out with us? I'm looking now. He's Brown University.
Oh, yeah,
Doc is legit.
No, he's legit.
Clowning around with us.
Listen,
hardly. I really appreciate it.
We love you, man. So make sure. I love when you come on. So make sure you're in the rotation a lot. All right.
I will come back as much as you guys like. I really appreciate it. It's always
Thanks,
fun.
brother. You're the best, Doc.
Okay.
Take care. Dr. Dotson checking in, giving us some insight on Jordan Love's elbow.
We'll just keep finding.
Listen, that's no joke.
No,
man.
Nerve stuff is annoying. You got a tooth that flares up. It's all nerve pain, man. Woo.
Dude, it's the worst.
Nerves are legit. I have the sciatica nerve.
Yeah, no good. No good.
We just had to keep finding shoulder injuries. We could bring Doc in. Shoulder and arm injuries. We keep bringing Doc in.
All right. Let's tell you about some of our partners and friends. Well, the Holy Seven's going to begin. Primos! Come on now.
Ooh, what's the Primo Holy Seven? We do the Italian, of course.
Right. The Italian, the ham, the turkey.
Yeah,
right?
Ham, turkey.
The chicken cutlet, the meatball.
Chicken cutlet, meatball. Schwartzy. I'm a Schwartzy guy. I like the Schwartzy.
And then you need a number. You need a seventh. Now,
I think the Italian tuna is underrated.
Okay, well, I would go more like the Diablo, like the old school Diablo.
Well, then we'd have like a holy nine. We got the turkey Diablo or the Italian Diablo.
Well, I think you pick one Diablo.
All right, which one?
All right.
We would say the Diablos, a class.
Okay, there you go. That's perfect.
That's our seven?
That's the seven. There was eight. Right?
Yeah,
but,
throw me the tuna.
Okay, throw in the tuna. That's your Holy Eight.
Yeah.
So here's the beauty. You could, as you're getting ready to watch the Holy Eight, which was last night, Notre Dame, Penn State, and throughout, you can tell them the party tray, the hoagie tray, and you can tell them the hoagies that you want whacked up. Right?
Yeah, whack it up.
It's perfect, man. The bite size, people love it. All right. Don't flub game day. All right. Like that commercial says, you're always a hero when you go Primo.
It's so easy. You make a call, you order the app, pick it up. It's stress-free.
It is great. I mean, look at that roll. Only the finest meats, Thuman meats and cheeses on that incredible seeded roll. Like you can see it. It looks just like the picture. It's one of those things where it looks just like it and it tastes even better. I've been telling you about Primo since 25 years. And since they opened, I was a fan. 1992 on Rittner Street, now over 100 locations. Go to PrimoHoagies.com for the games this weekend. You'll say what I always say. It's not just a hoagie. It's
Primo.
A Primo. That's right. It's a Primo. All right. Also, time now to talk about let's go. Parks Casino, Street Road, Bed Salem, the mecca of entertainment in 2025. The Excite Center, the home of great musical acts, great comedians, MMA, boxing, you name it, all at the Excite Center. So go to parkscasino.com for the headline acts. Are you ready, boys? Here you go. Here's what's happening at Parks Casino. So let's go to January 24th, January 18th, the Reggae Sounds of Shaggy.
Girl, you're my angel. You're my darling angel.
January 24th, actor Richard Kind from Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Whoa, Larry. Hey, whoa, hey.
Country star Cole Swindell, February 7th.
Here's Carolina, tails California. I'm starting to like that song.
February 8th, Jerry Cantrell, Alice in Chains.
If I could you.
Bike Chain gets excited for that. March 8th, magician Michael Carbonaro.
Hey, pick a number between 1 and 3.
SNL's Colin Jost returns 2 nights at Parks Casino, March 14th and 15th.
You can never have too much hair product.
Comedian Larry the Cable Guy, May 16th.
Get her done.
ParksCasino.com to buy tickets for all shows. Parks Casino, this is how you win. You got to be 21. If you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER.
You keep sleeping on Slaughter, February 14th with your loved ones. Up all night, sleep all day.
I don't know. It's not on my.
I don't know why. Maybe it's sold out. Maybe it's selling really well.
On my list.
Yeah, I do. He's on everyone's list.
He is. We had to get him. He's down at the Hula Bowl.
Oh, of course. Well, of course he is.
All right. He's going to be.
He'll probably be at the Slaughter show, I'm sure.
Yeah, he's at the Hula. They had to move the Hula Bowl to Florida.
Yeah, what is that about?
Yeah.
Why?
Because he used to go to Hawaii.
Yeah.
But I saw him yesterday. He sent me some practice clips of him doing the O-lineman, working at practice. Hula Bowl. He's there today. The Hula Bowl practice. I used to love the Hula Bowl.
Why did it move?
I don't know. But I remember like all those, like the Senior Bowl, the Hula Bowl. I love that stuff. That's good. It's good football. All right, let us know when we have him, Frage.
Frage, you have that tweet I sent recently? I wanted to give a shout out to this guy. He's Whitney Cummings, comedian.
Oh, he's hysterical.
Whitney Cummings does good work, but she was evacuating.
I'm sorry. That's the one you sent me.
Yeah, she does like roast. She's really good.
Yeah.
She was evacuating because of the fire, and she tweeted out, "When you date an Eagles fan, this is what they grab when evacuating from a fire." And he's got an old Cunningham retro jersey he grabbed and another like Eagles hoodie to make sure he had it for the weekend for the game. His name is Chris Cole. He's an award-winning skateboarder. So he grew up in Langhorne.
Did he really?
Yeah, big Eagles fan.
Does he know Jimmy?
I don't know. I reached out to Jimmy, but I think Jimmy's out in California. He might be on the move with the fire stuff too.
Yeah. While we wait for Baldy, let's go with the Rite Aid back in the day moment.
We're going back.
We're going back. We're going back in the day. We're going back. We're going back. We're going back in
the day with Rite Aid. Yeah!
All right. Let's see it. Where are we going there, Frage?
All right, we are going. We have two today. We have two.
Well, I know I contributed one.
You have one of them.
Nice.
I thought it was just fitting to show this one today since, we are going to be playing the Packers this upcoming Sunday in the playoffs. So why don't we just go back in time to see
4th and 26?
4th and 26.
That was, how in the world could you play it? It's amazing they won that game. And then in overtime, Favre, I was talking about it with Kevin. Favre froze it up.
Yes. He had a
First
tendency
down,
to do
like,
that.
what in the world are you doing? Brian, it was like the old, when we would play football in the streets and throw the ball up in the air as a kickoff. That's what it was. It was like a punt.
I used to love those kickoffs.
I know. It was the best. All right. What's our second one from our Rite Aid back in the day moment?
Our second one here, let me pull it up.
This is great. You guys are going to love this. I saw on Instagram. I like, to me, I love this stuff.
Cool.
This is football. It's playoffs. 1981 Philadelphia. So this is a slice of Philadelphia.
Oh, yeah. Spectrum.
You got the sound?
Failure boiled over into the street. Other Eagles fans, to their credit, helped break up this brawl, and no one was hurt, at least physically. Emotionally, Eagles fans took a beating today.
It was horrible. They choked.
But this is really the story of what a difference 3 hours makes. The difference between what you're hearing now and what you heard before. Everybody in green was talking this way before the game, and fans inside the vet put up a first-quarter wall of sound. There was even international support from a tourist from the Soviet Union. Somebody just said we're all moving to Washington. Hell no. You gonna trade in your Eagles jacket? Yeah. No. You're coming back next year. The fans' disappointment has its limits.
They're getting brawls.
There's a guy in a fur coat in a brawl.
Dude, you want to talk about that? Like, they talk about now, oh my God, the hooligans, thuggery. All these people back then were nuts. Like, they were in playoffs. Forget about it, man. Fights and
Just a
all
regular
kinds of-
dude throwing on his mink to go down to the playoff game.
It was unbelievable. It was great. What's the deal with Baldy, Frage?
He's having a trouble with the link. I just sent him another one, so.
I guess a quick little nugget was I'll go because Garafolo had the Phillies hat on.
Yeah.
A quick little Phillies thing. MLB
Always.
released their list of MLB TV, their top center fielders in baseball. And it's interesting. Top 10. 1, Julio Rodriguez. Number 2, Jackson Merrill. Number 3, Byron Buxton. Number 4, Michael Harris 2. Number 5, Mike Trout. Number 6, Brandon Marsh.
Wow. I don't see
That's
that.
how weak the center fielders are.
Well, you got Trout, who didn't play.
Yeah.
Buxton, who's always hurt.
Yeah. 7 is Dalton Varsho. 8 is Garrett Mitchell. 9, O'Neal Cruz. And 10, Luis Robert Jr. Got him 10th in March.
Wow.
6.
That's crazy. All right, we got him. Let's go live to the Hula Bowl practice with our man, Baldy.
Baldy. Oh, let's talk some football. Baldy. Oh, he likes pizza and football.
Oh, Baldy. Oh, Baldy. There he is. How's life at the Hula Bowl, my brother?
Life is good. I mean, it's they just finished their final practice. Just got done talking to some of the TV people here and what we're going to do tomorrow. But it's been good. I mean, the highlight really is that Deion Sanders is here. He's being inducted into the Hula Bowl Hall of Fame. He did it last night, but he's got 5 players here from Colorado. Colorado came here to Central Florida. We're on the campus of Central Florida. I'm in the football office right now. But it was good. It was good outdoor practice. It was really cool. But Brian Billick and Mike Smith and, a bunch of Mike Tice, a bunch of NFL head coaches are here coaching these guys. So it's been a good week. Like, it's good seeing and hearing some popping, some real hitting going on out here. Yesterday, every drill was live. We probably had over 300 scouts here from around the NFL. So it was a really, really good day yesterday.
How was Dion? Because I know Dion's a Baldy fan.
He is, but it's interesting. I was asking him about the Heisman Trophy, a winner of his, and I was asking him, can he play both ways in the NFL?
Travis Hunter, baby, yeah.
Travis Hunter. He goes, the thing that we have to do in college, and how we have to sort of mitigate his snaps is. We play fast in college. We play every 16 seconds. We line up and play. That won't happen in the NFL. So he thinks there's no reason why he can't play 50 offensive snaps and 45, 50 defensive snaps the way that he's built. He says he could be a top 10 receiver in this league, route running, jumping ability, size, the whole thing. So I thought that was interesting. Then he had some things to say about the Dallas Cowboys and, just kind of what's missing, not just there, but around the league. Like, he's a big Sean Payton fan. He's a big Jim Harbaugh fan. And Bill Belichick. So what he's a fan of, cuz, is old school coaching.
Yeah.
Like, you just can't get it. Like, you've seen all the stuff that's coming out of Miami and Mike McDaniel. Guys aren't disciplined. They're coming in late. Like, he's a fan of discipline, a fan of, okay, we're doing things as a team. We're not going on a podcast and talking about our team. Like, that stuff gets shut down. And I totally agreed with Dion about all of that stuff and some of the issues that happen around the league.
He's interesting because, there was a big deal. People made a big deal about him being referenced as coach. And I respect it because he believes in that title, right? He believes that the coach should be the coach, should have the power, should wield respect. And that's all he meant by it, which I really respect that, to be honest with you.
Well, I mean, he saw Jimmy Johnson, at his best, and that's what Jimmy Johnson demanded. Yeah. And there's one voice. You go to Denver, there's one voice. It's Sean Payton. He speaks. And it's a controlled environment where guys just can't pop off, about what happened that day. It goes through the coach. And that's how Parcells was. I'm a fan of that old school approach.
Yeah. Hey, let me ask you, let's start it off. What's your vibe with did we lose him? Oh, there we go. Which Sunday, how you matching up Sunday? I still think the Eagles defense is the mitigating factor in the game.
Well, I do have both sides of the ball to me. Green Bay's run defense has been good this year. They were pretty good week one, but Saquon had over 100, scored 3 touchdowns. I don't think they're any match for the Eagles up front. And then on the other side of the ball, Cooper DeJean didn't play in that first game. He wasn't the slot defender. He's a Pro Bowl player. Quinyon, Mitchell did a great job on Christian Watson, who's not going to play on some plays. And so I just think the way that they're playing, the way that we have seen Zach Bond and Nakobe Dean come on at linebacker, I think no matter what Green Bay tries to do, and they try to run the ball, they have an effective approach to it. I think the Eagles are better in the trenches than the Packers are.
Let me ask you about the 2 quarterback issues going on. Obviously, Jalen is about 12 snaps in almost a month. Any kind of rust? Like, what's your concern level with the pass game? AJ's got a little dinged. He's going to play, but he's dealing with some knee soreness that he dealt with Washington and Dallas.
Well, it's a major concern. I mean, the passing game has to have the precision of a diamond cutter. And that's not amazing. The only way you get that is if you have basically practice. Practice is important. The timing, the route running. Are you converting this back shoulder fade at 12 yards, 14 yards against this particular corner? All those things are talked through, all week long in preparation for any kind of a game. And so it's a concern. Turnovers can decide the difference in these games. He had 3 of them in that first game in Green Bay. Now after the Tampa Bay loss, he really cut down on all that stuff. But, are you going to hold the ball too long? Are you waiting for guys to get open before you throw it? Do you have to see them open before you release it? Can you throw it? These are fair questions about a guy that's played that many snaps in the last month.
On the other side of the ball, Jordan Love, now, he's got his own issues because of that elbow and the funny bone and gripping the ball. Apparently, reportedly, there's still some tingling. So we just had a doctor on from Rothman. He said grip still could be a little bit of an issue.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Jordan Love is going to know until he's out there. And you can't, it's just going to be hard to have that type of precision I spoke about to Romeo Dobbs or, to Jaden Reed, whoever it might be, if you're thinking about anything else but just gripping it and ripping it. If you're thinking about anything else but that, on those moments when you've got to put the ball in a tight window, like it can certainly affect you. Is the ball going to come out and spin the same way that we're used to seeing it spin, the way he's used to seeing it, the way Matt LaFleur is used to seeing it? Those are decisions that both Jordan Love and Matt LaFleur have to do during the game, if that's still an issue. And if it is, we might see Malik Willis in this game. And he's played well, but he's hadn't been in a playoff game, hadn't been on the road in this type of situation where it demands excellence at this point.
All right, quickly, and then we'll let you get back to practice. Let's go through the rest of the games. Chargers and Texans. Who do you like in the matchup?
I like the Chargers. I just think they commit fewer mistakes, fewer penalties. Houston's been heavily penalized all year. I mean, I think if Houston wins this game, it's got to be a Joe Mixon game. We need 30 touches from Joe Mixon. He's got to be able to control the tempo of the game. But Harbaugh, I think, anticipates that right now. So you're going to see reduced fronts. You're going to see his big people up front to try and slow that down. But they're just executing at a good level the last 3 weeks. I mean, if you did look at their last loss to Tampa, they gave up 223 yards rushing to Tampa, and I'm sure Houston thinking, let's try that approach in this game.
You give the Steelers any chance at Baltimore. No Zay Flowers, which could hurt the Ravens. The Steelers know Baltimore intimately. Do you give them a chance?
I give them a chance because of that, how well they know each other, and they know how tough and physical the game is. When Pittsburgh won in Week 11 in Pittsburgh, I was there announcing the game. They won 18-16. Now, Tucker missed probably 2 field goals he normally makes. That could have been the difference in the game. But I think if Pittsburgh wins, it's going to be that kind of a game. It's going to be 18-16, 20-17. It's going to be low scoring. Pittsburgh has to take the ball away. TJ, Cam Hayward, Minka, those guys got to come up with some plays in this game. Because I don't think if they don't take the ball away, Lamar is too good, and they can beat you in too many different ways. So that's the formula for Pittsburgh in this game.
Denver, we love Bo Nix, but Buffalo's a different animal.
They are. The one thing, like Buffalo's not a big defensive front, but Denver's not a great running football team. They try to balance it up. They haven't been real good at it throughout the season. I feel like this is Josh Allen's game. I mean, if there's any question marks about the MVP, and I know the voting is in, it's not based on playoffs, but I'm sure Josh wants to go out there with an MVP performance. So he's going to do, his players are talking about it all week. Like, he'll do anything it takes to win this game. And he's got such considerable talent, that might be enough.
Tampa, Washington should be entertaining.
I agree. And, Baker Mayfield did something that only 9 other quarterbacks in the history of the game have done this year. He's thrown for over 4,500 yards and 41 touchdowns. Like, I mean, Jan Marino did it. Peyton Manning did it. I mean, Patrick Mahomes did it. Only the greats have ever done that. And that's kind of the year that Baker's had. And they've got the 4th leading rushing football team in the league. Now, can Jaden Daniels sort of balance that out? Back in week 1, Todd Bowles blitzed them so many times, they ended up running 16 times in that game. And a lot of them were scrambles away from pressure. So, but I think
by the way, we continue on YouTube. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Baldy.
Yeah, the Bucs. The one question mark is they've got so many guys in the secondary that are out. I don't know if Jamel Dean is playing or not playing. Antoine Winfield, Christian Itzian, like they're really banged up in the secondary. I mean, that's maybe something that Jaden Daniels, along with Terry McLaurin, can take advantage of.
And then Monday night, the game moved to Arizona because of the fires, and that's awful. I know you have a lot of friends out there, as I do, and it's an awful thing. People are getting displaced. It's horrible.
Well, it's horrible, and it's not over, and the destruction is massive. But they got to play the game, and it's just not safe to play in Los Angeles right now. So they made the right move to go to. I think it's the first playoff game that's ever been moved for any particular reason. Other things have been moved because of weather, stadiums, whatever. But this is but regardless, SoFi Stadium isn't a real big home field advantage for the Rams. It'll be an indoor, very generic atmosphere there. But I think the question really is, can Sam Darnold get back to form after what we saw against Detroit last week? And I think he can. And if he does, then I think this is Minnesota's game to win. Not to say that the Rams can't win. The line tells you that it's a toss-up game right now. But I feel like Minnesota is a more complete team with what they can do defensively right now.
Yeah.
Hey, Baldy, you're down at the Hula Bowl. Do you partake in any, like a Mai Tai? Any kind of festive Hawaiian cocktail?
Well, if we were on the beaches of Waikiki, that would be a no-brainer. But they've moved it from Hawaii to Orlando now a couple years ago. So I don't think so. I think tonight's just preparation night. I might mingle with a lot of the players in a hotel and stuff, just kind of get to know them a little bit better. We've got a pregame show and a postgame show that just came at me just literally a half hour ago. So instead of a 3-hour window, it's like 4.5 hours now. So I've got some work to do here. I think I'm going to lock myself in here right now.
What, on the NFL Network?
It's on CBS Sports Network and throughout streaming on different other networks that CBS controls.
That'd be awesome. I want to watch. That'll be great. Will they ever move it back to Hawaii?
I don't think so. They don't have a stadium in Hawaii, and so maybe one day if they get a stadium there. The Aloha Stadium has been condemned. We did the last game there ever played, I think 3 years ago. So until they get that done, I don't think that they're gonna.
Yeah.
I don't think they have a venue to play it there.
Yeah, that's wild. Baldy, we love you, buddy. Enjoy the Holy Eight.
I'm looking forward to tonight's game in the Cotton Bowl, tomorrow the Hula Bowl, and then playoff football. Yeah.
Horns.
Hook 'em. That's it, man. So we saw Notre Dame advance. I'm sorry to see Penn State get knocked out, but Riley Leonard was really good. They ran the ball really well in that second half, so they earned that win, I thought.
Well, you had to love that too, because first half Penn State bullied them, and then they come back after halftime. And you're right, yep. Riley Leonard out of the tent played really, really well, and they stood up to Penn State, man. I was surprised.
I was too, and I got to give Riley credit. Like, I known that kid since he was at Duke, and but he improvised a great deal and created a bunch of plays. And you saw how tough he is when he runs the ball. So that's a good defense, star-studded defense right there. To go out and do what they did was amazing.
Conversely, Allar, man, oof. He struggled.
And that was, he probably goes back to Penn State after that performance. He doesn't look like he's a first-round pick at this point right now. No, he probably ends up back at Penn State.
Yeah, he has to go back. All right, brother, get back to work. We love you. We'll be watching.
Thanks, guys.
Yes.
Yep, enjoy it this weekend. See you, bud.
There he is. Baldy. Ooh, Allar. Oof. I mean, he has to go back. I mean, he is so not ready. We didn't think he was ready all season.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, one game didn't really break him, did he?
No, but this was even. I know the problem is there's like a dearth of quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
And in this draft, Cam Ward and Shador are it. I don't. And there's big questions about those guys.
Yeah, neither one seemed to be like a slam dunk franchise quarterback.
No.
Mm. Good news for the Giants. If you're an Eagles fan, it's good news.
Yes. All right, it's the weekend. We've been all over the football all morning long, and it's time now for some non-football content.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you got a significant other who doesn't like football, maybe we'll get some suggestions on stuff they can watch.
Of course. Yeah. He's the one, the only, TV Todd. Act like a man. You can't handle the truth.
It's time for TV Todd.
There he is, TV Todd. Good morning, my
What's up,
brother.
buddy? How you doing, cuz?
We're doing well. Lots to get to. This is a TV Todd edition of TV Todd.
Okay. Oh, all
yes,
right.
because
all right.
TV Todd has some major shows. Please, without further ado, take the floor, TV Todd.
Wow, TV Todd edition of TV Todd. This is great. Yeah, so thanks for letting me come on today and be shameless. Let's talk a little bit about the show. I know we've talked about this before on your show because it's been a weird phenomenon for about 4 years. I started to work on a show about 4 years ago called The Curious Case of Natalia Grace. And this is a true crime docuseries on Max. And it is the story of a family who adopted a little girl from the Ukraine who had dwarfism. And they eventually become to believe that she is not a little girl with dwarfism. She is an adult trying to murder them. And so the parents drop this quote unquote kid off to live by herself in Indiana, and they're arrested immediately. And that's where the beginning of season 1 starts. And now today we are looking at the last 4 episodes are up on Max, the final chapter. This series has taken some crazy twists and turns, even to us as producers. We've been thrown for a loop for this thing. So the 4 episodes are up now. The story concludes. And again, what a phenomenon. Natalia herself is on the cover of People magazine next week. It was the number one, immediately out of the gate, top number 1 series on Max in the top 10. It will probably be in the top 10 for a while now. And we just couldn't be any more proud of the series. It was very, very difficult to put together, very challenging. The access that we got was second to none. And I just thank everybody who has supported this series across the country. It really blows me away.
That's amazing, dude. It's
a
huge.
fascinating story.
It's a great story. It really is a great story. And it's so bizarre because I'm sure as it's unfolding, you're like, wait, what? What? Yeah. How many times did you do that?
Right.
Oh, so many times. And the truth is, and I don't think I'm revealing anything, out of school here, but, we were ready to end the series after season 2. Originally we wanted to do 1 series, tell the story. Then while we were producing that, Natalia agreed to come into season 2 and tell her side of the story, which was, a groundbreaking.
Right.
And then we were ready to end it. And then there was something that happened at the end of season 2, which on the show it's portrayed. Everybody thinks we faked that little cliffhanger. We did not. We got thrown into a situation we did not expect, which ended up in this season 3 final chapter. And I think the audience is really going to love it and enjoy the last 4 episodes. And then because this show is so successful, we now have a spin-off series that starts on Max on Monday. And I have to tell you, cuz I'm really proud of this series because what it is it's called, building off of the Curious Case brand. It's called The Curious Case ... It's hosted by Beth Karras, who is the court TV lawyer who hosts the entire series of Natalia. And what we're doing is every episode, 1 a week, we're going to cover another curious case, a twisty-turny true crime scenario. So, for example, the first episode...
Brilliant.
It's great. It's such a good series. The first episode, which starts Monday, is a little bit close to home for all of us here. It's a story about Bam Margera from Jackass, who lives in Westchester, Pennsylvania. And it's a story about how he got involved with this guardian who has a controversial method of solving or helping people with drug addiction. And she herself is accused of being involved in, these alleged crimes and situations. And I mean, and Bam's in it. Steve O is in it.
Wow.
It's a great episode. But then every week we're covering things like, con artists to, funerals, House of Horrors who don't cremate the bodies and just give the families powdered concrete in bags to to a cat cult in Tennessee, the doomsday cat cult in Tennessee. I'm telling you, I love this series.
dude, from doing like a true crime podcast, there is a lot of that where people do stuff with bodies and sell the parts, and like they think they get the remains, but they just give you whatever, like a bag of concrete, and meanwhile they're selling the remains on the black market to these collectors and stuff. It's weird stuff. It's a whole weird world.
You're so right, VG, because when we were doing this story, we were learning about other funeral homes that did this. This one happens to be out
There
in
was one in
Colorado.
the Northeast.
There's a
I
lot
met
of
with a
them.
guy in the Northeast who had a story, and it was wild because they were selling the body. There's big money in organs.
Well, and feet and hand. It's just weird, man. People collect crazy stuff with these morbid collections.
It's not collections, more for black market sales for the organs and stuff that you need.
All right, maybe that one, but like the stories we've been doing, there's guys selling millions of dollars to these they're like macabre collectors who like to put stuff in jars and formaldehyde and stuff. It's wild, dude.
It is
you
wild.
Walk in, you see a guy's foot in a jar. What the freak?
Yes. Feet
You know what?
Now I'm out of there.
It's the story that we cover is a Colorado funeral home, and it's even more evil than what you guys have just described because they didn't sell the bodies or anything. They just were stacking them up and they didn't have the money or to fix the systems that were being used to cremate, and they were just stacking them up in refrigerated systems that weren't even operating. I mean, that one episode, I have to say, that episode of all the episodes in this particular series has stuck with me. These people are pure evil.
Yeah.
Wow, that's horrible. That sounds like an incredible series, man. That's awesome.
Thank you. I'm really proud of it. And the production company I work with, Hot Snakes Media, I'm out here with them right now in Connecticut because we got a lot of press to do for this show. And but I'm really proud of it, and I think your audience is going to love it. And this is one that's going to drop week to week over the next 6 weeks.
Fantastic. And that's Monday. This
starts Monday on Max and ID.
Not a curious case. Like, it's a great, fascinating story. But for me, the extra Easter egg to tune in for, there's the one guy who randomly is interviewed with his shirt off with the largest abdominal hernia you've ever seen in your life. And he's just hanging out with his shirt off getting interviewed, right?
Yeah, dude, I love that you brought that up because one of my favorite things is, with a show like this is when it airs, if you go onto like social media while it's airing, it just scrolls up and down. Every 2 seconds, there's a comment, and they're hilarious. Some of them are obviously some of them are very negative and some of them are amazing, and it's all over the board. But the hernia, people keep screenshotting that, and they're like, what is this?
The guy doesn't even think to throw a shirt on, dude. It's crazy looking.
We love that guy.
That's fabulous. All right, listen. Anything else that you want to discuss today?
Yeah, just real quick, a couple tidbits for you. I know we got big football this weekend, so we're not going to have a lot of time to sneak in some content. But, on your show, a couple times quickly in passing, I've noted this series called The Madness on Netflix. And I didn't watch it, but now I have. And I got to tell you, I missed something very important about that show that I want to tell your audience. First of all, it's a fantastic show, but it's shot almost entirely in Philadelphia.
Are you serious?
Oh, nice.
What's the premise?
The premise is the guy is a on and off again CNN broadcaster, lives in, I think they said he has an apartment in West Philly. And he decides he wants to go write a book. So he goes to the Poconos. And while he's there, he witnesses a murder. So when he comes back, he's being framed for the murder. But it all takes place all over Philadelphia. He's at La Colombe and his law firm is there. And they're at Reading Terminal Market. They're steps away from where we broadcasted a few weeks ago.
Dude, they're all through my neighborhood. They're
Who did it? Local guy?
I don't know, but is the actor from Philly?
Who shot
Coleman Domingo?
Who's the director?
I don't know if Coleman is.
Yeah, Coleman Domingo is from Philly, so maybe he wanted to bring it back here. Yeah, he's from Temple.
He's
a
great,
Temple guy.
man. We got to get him on, man. Pump it up.
There's actually a scene. My cousin owns a hair salon on Passyunk Ave near the Rite Aid, where he runs up and looks in the window. He sees himself on TV. It was her salon. They paid her to close down for the day, but it's all through Queen Village, South Philly. There's all kinds of good locations.
Fantastic.
That's really cool. It's it's a really fun series, and he's wonderful in it. So yeah, if you could get him on, that'd be great. but I wanted to make sure your audience knew that because it's awesome to see.
Man, we will definitely watch that.
He's an Overbrook High graduate.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
That's cool.
Awesome. That's awesome. Brother, I mean, are you kidding me? This is a huge day for you.
It's a lot of fun. And we got a couple more series that are going to be, as soon as I get the press embargo lifted, I'm coming right on your show to talk about. But it's a good time. It's a good time early this year for releasing content.
Yeah, that's great. Brother, you're the best, buddy. We wish you congratulations, man. It's awesome.
Thanks, boys. Go Birds.
Go Birds.
Go Birds.
There he is, TV Todd. All right. Is that going to do it for us? Or do we have...
Nice.
I was wondering if he was going to be around. There he is.
What up, cuz? I missed you so much, cuz. How you been?
Black Gritty.
So, cuz, first of all, before I even get to what we need to talk about, let me tell you something. The Vikings going to get smoked, dog. I don't know if you got any money laid out there on the side.
I'm with you.
But what happens is when you lose to the Lions, you get smoked the next week. And they lost to the Lions earlier, then they went to play the Rams. They got smoked by the Rams. I'm just saying a repeat of history, neutral site. The Rams ain't got no fans anyway, so they don't care. It's going to be a COVID game for them. But I'm telling you, Sam Darnold about to get this work. Okay, he got exposed. It is what it is. Just put you out there. Now, secondly, VG, I've been trying to get invited to your crib, so I got some Kobe Jack cheese. I got some Parmesan cheese. I know you be doing the charcuteries. I got some champagne. You know what I mean? But the most important cheese I'm trying to bring to your crib is this smoked Gouda, because the Packers about to get smoked this week. I got my grater ready. Invite your boy over for the board. You know what I'm saying? I got all the cheeses. They're gonna get thrown out the window. But I tell you what. The Birds are about to do some dirty work. I'm tired of hearing about rest and Russ. Patrick Mahomes about to be off for 25 days. I ain't heard one word about Russ. He ain't thrown a ball in a month. But, you come out here with my quarterback and you want to worry about something? Well, guess what? We got the best offensive line in football. We got one of the youngest, best defense. Oh, wait. Best defense left in the playoffs in the postseason. We done beat the Ravens, the Pittsburgh, everybody you and your mama think is doing something we done beat. And you worried about the Packers that we beat in another country on a crappy field in week 1? It seems like 22 years ago. But I'm just telling you one thing. Jordan Love was on skates, got knocked out of that game. Just got knocked out last week. Their backup quarterback got knocked out again. And I tell you what, they about to get knocked out on Sunday, because we're not playing around. It's at the link. The heart's going to sink. The cheese is going to get grated. The only cheese coming up in here is them cheesesteaks from Philadelphia, brother. The cheesesteak from Philadelphia. That's the only cheese we work with. I haven't been more confident about something in the postseason in a really long time. The Packers beat Fugazi teams. Yes. Every time they go up against a team over 500 with a running game, guess what? Oh, they're best at stopping the run because they're playing the Jaguars, okay? When they go up against the Lions, 100-plus yards. They go up against the Vikings, 100-plus yards. Look at the real stats. The Eagles shut everybody down, Key West to Key Largo. We haven't had a fast start 90% of the season. So if Jalen Hurts comes out here and he's a little wonky, I don't give a who and or Andy, because we're going to run the ball down their throat. And by the time the fourth quarter comes, you're looking up like, damn, Birds up by 14. Go Birds!
Yeah!
Spitting nothing but facts.
I love it.
Blowout.
All right. Well, let's get our predictions on the way out. And Drew Frazier.
It's going to be a 10-point game, 33-23. Go Birds.
33-20. Once again, I just disagree with him.
What did he disagree with? The number?
Yeah, it's
the
too
33,
high.
23?
20, too high. Too high.
23,
Frazier's too high.
23 is an odd number, too. 33 is an odd number. 33.
No, I mean, nowadays with 2 points and all that, I got no beef with that. It's just I just think it's too high.
No.
I got to tweak my man anyway. What do you got?
I'm not that far behind. 31-13. I've been saying it all week.
31-13.
Yeah.
This
like one, they roll, man. I'm so with Gritty. They're frauds, these Packers. Too much love.
All right. I give you 24-16 Birds.
All right. 8 points. That's a healthy cover.
All right.
Yeah.
There it is. That's going to do it for us. Great job, Frazier. Awesome. Everybody, we love you guys, man. Enjoy this weekend of great football and enjoy a Birds victory. We'll talk about it on Monday.
Go
See
Birds.
you then. Go Birds.
We all silly like the mayor.